What a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show, as sharing the show increases the live audience, of course, and this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you are new to the channel or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. And we are joined by Sleeping Warrior and Arwin. How are you both doing?
Yo yo.
Hello.
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 Yeah, doing good. It's
Excellent.
warm. Really warm. So, yeah, I put out a little video on my own channel.
Hey John, good to have you.
It's like outside.
How you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm eating breakfast, man. I'm gonna go on mute for a couple minutes, okay?
No bother.
Hey, make sure this is gonna be a good one, brother.
Okay.
Okay. See, talk to you in a couple minutes.
Okie doke.
Okay.
Are you on the back door, Arwin?
Yep.
Cool.
Not very focused on it, but I got it there.
Yeah, keep focus on it, because what I'll do is if all the soccer accounts could join like in the next 10 minutes, just so that we can kick you. It just allows us to be able to ease off for the rest of the show if you can join promptly. So shout out to all the soccer accounts. Please join us as soon as you can. Links in the chat. Anybody can join, particularly the soccer accounts, and then we can kick you. Hurry up.
So, let's do laundry.
When was the last time that any of you two looked at the wiki page for Gravity?
Nope.
Recently, I'm sure I've looked at that page. Why?
I've not looked at it for a while, and I noticed that it's really quite interesting the way that they describe it in terms of both the description verbally and the mathematical description. If I screen share, Arwin, do you think you might be able to watch the back door?
Sure.
Okay. Let me screen share. Hang on. What's going on here? Screen share. Entire screen. Share that. Right, so...
Oh.
You're up.
What I'll do is I'll make
You're
it...
doing a big screen share. That's not good.
Why is it not good?
Because you might...
It's good enough. We can read that. That's no
you don't
worry.
want.
That's good.
I'll just make it a bit bigger and centralize it better. Hide that. Why is that not being moved over? What the hell is up with that? There we go. I don't know why. That's what I'm looking for.
I can just hear you muttering. That's all I can hear.
I'm just trying to get it so that it's centralized on my screen so I can actually read it. That's what I wanted. Right, so Gravity. Go back up to the top. Wikipedia page. It's quite fun, this, because it is nonsense at best of times, but it's even more nonsense. It doesn't even identify the forces correctly that are acted upon these objects that it is subject to. So it talks about the definition, the basic definition initially. It talks about how things are being pulled. On Earth, gravity gives weight to physical objects. Right, that's interesting because it's supposed to be a force, but it gives weight to physical objects, blah, blah, blah. And then what I'm most interested in is the way it describes the maths. Let's have a look.
Yeah.
English mathematician. Right, this is basically the mathematical equation for gravity. And hopefully there should be a little There was a nice little diagram in here somewhere. Trying to find it now. Where's it gone? Where is this? I did have this prepared, but for some reason it's not looking very good. I accept. Am I even on the right gravity page?
Hey, Nummy Num.
Hey, Nummy.
Hello.
Good to have
Nice
you.
to see you all today.
You too.
Where has it gone? Gravity. Maybe it was on the other page that it takes me to, the gravitation page. Right, the equation is the following. So you've got F equals G M1 M2 divided by R2 R squared. So basically it talks about F being the force, which is the beginning bit. M1 and M2 are the masses of the objects interacting, divided by R2 or R squared, which is the distance between the centers. Problem with this equation is that the objects that are being affected by gravity are already subject to the centrifugal force of the spinning nature of the Earth. And that would have to be negated by mathematical formula to give a fair figure here, because these objects are already being centrifuged in some way. No matter what their mass is, they are going to be suffering the effects of centrifuge. But in the maths, there's no recognition for it. But it is a force that's affecting these particles. So I don't know how they can have a mathematical formula that doesn't address or negate or correct for the effects of centrifuge on the objects in question.
Well, it's not in it, but that is because it is not directly related. These forces can be applied separately. There is theoretically still gravitational pull without there being centrifugal force, so it's not directly related.
That's nonsense.
No, that's not nonsense.
Yeah, it is. That's complete nonsense.
No, it's theoretical nonsense, but it's correct.
No, there would
Yes,
always.
it is. Centrifugal force. Gravity is not centrifugal force, not even theoretically.
I'm not saying.
Arwen is right. Like if there was a theoretically, according to the conventional science, if the Earth was not spinning, we would still have gravity.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
exactly like the moon,
But listen,
well, the moon is supposedly spinning, but yeah.
Listen to what.
Hey, let me get in here into the fight, please. My mic's not working.
You sound great. You sound fine.
I'm going to try to go out and come back in. Save a seat for me, okay, folks? Appreciate it. Is that okay? You guys still there?
Yeah, still here. You sound all right, by the way.
Okay.
I think basically what they're saying, Anthony, is that the centrifugal force in there, according to their model, is very weak and is canceled and then some by the gravitational attraction thing.
Well, let me start at the beginning. It says gravity or gravitation is a natural phenomena, right? So a phenomenon is something that we observe.
Hey, Rumpus, how you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Jolly good. It's the Rumpus.
I've got a diagram to explain exactly what is troubling Anthony.
No, don't worry. I'll go on mute, Rumpus. You can hijack it and destroy it, and then I'll just have no chance to respond, and I'll sit here quietly.
No, I don't stop you saying what you want to say, Anthony.
No, but you're going to talk over him. But
well, I can show you. I can prevent him spending, I don't know, minutes describing something incorrectly, and I'll be able to show him, even graphically, very simply, what's going on, and then he won't be confused anymore. So if you want that, I mean...
You're going to show us more models of your globe?
Yeah, well, I'll just show it's a clear... I mean, I think anybody should be able to understand this, and then Anthony won't start saying things like, gravitation's got to have a centrifugal. Why isn't it accounted for centrifugal force? Because he doesn't understand.
I don't need your model to explain that to him. I just did it without your model. We don't.
Oh, goodness. Is Rumpus in here? Rumpus, you're going to be a star of the show for a little bit here.
Actually, Arwen, you didn't do what I was asking anyway. You made a different point. That's not the point.
No, you did. And Arwen's absolutely
correct. Because I won't get the chance to speak, I'm going to selectively stay silent until Rumpus leaves.
Yeah, right. Mic check.
In protest that Rumpus is
John, you sound good.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Arwen actually said that something was absolutely correct. What you've got, that gravitational equation you were showing, gives you the gravitational force, but then you add in other forces that may exist. So, for instance, if you weren't on a spinning planet or you just in a Cavendish experiment environment.
Get out of here. Gravity doesn't exist.
Hold on. Let me. I'm in
This is about the
mid-sentence here.
theory.
Get out of here, man. I'm
This
sick
is
of
about-
talking about
behave
invisible
yourself,
freezing
Phil.
unknowns.
Behave yourself.
Get out of here,
This is
Behave
about
yourself.
the
You're a
theory.
clown.
Behave yourself.
Behave yourself. You're a clown,
Take
man.
turns.
Get out of here.
Take turns.
Take
Right,
turns being a
so-
moron.
Right.
No,
No,
yeah, that's
you're
all
the only
you.
one who takes a turn of being a moron.
That's all you.
Right. So
you're
the
part of
point
the
is
show.
that Arwin was absolutely correct. You have
Sure.
two effects, and so you then add them together with two vectors, which I've got in my diagram
Sure.
here. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah,
Shows,
we can't.
You can't see this diagram.
Well,
It just.
I
I'm
don't want to see it.
Well, I'm going to demonstrate how
You ain't going to demonstrate
the
anything.
centrifugal
Hold
force
on a second,
and the
Rumpus. Sorry,
gravitational
Rumpus.
force
Sorry,
interact
Rumpus. Just
with
to
one
bear
another.
with me a second, Rumpus. If you want to see it in the Hangout, just click on the Rumpus locally. The audience can see it, but if you just click on his face, you can see what he's got up. Or on the word the Rumpus.
Right. So here is the situation that obviously I believe in and is supported by evidence. So this is here. We have the Earth. There's a little chappie there, perhaps Anthony or something, sitting on the surface. And that's where the gravitational force acceleration, the gravitational acceleration is directed towards the center of the Earth. And that's this vector, this pink thing, is the gravitational force, the gravitational acceleration I've drawn here. I've called it AG, the gravitational section, and we know we call that little g, little g. Now, what happens when this starts to spin? You can ask yourself. This is the thing that this is the diagram that Arwin tried to draw and confuses Anthony completely. If we now add in what happens when they start to spin, this thing spins around. You get a centrifugal force acting on this chap on the surface, and it's related to this radius here of this circle that appears here, and that's where the centrifugal force acts in that direction, away from the. So this is the rotating Earth
In
here.
a tube shape.
So this is the sphere. It's rotating around this way, and that's the direction the centrifugal force. So Arwin was absolutely correct when he brought the subject originally some weeks ago. He didn't quite get the force angles right, but he sort of got the idea that there was a centrifugal force acting, and so we've now got.
I definitely got the force angles right, but you just put a diagram for it.
Anyway, so here we've got now two forces acting on this chap on the surface. We've got the gravitational force and we've got the centrifugal force. And what you can do is you can do a vector addition to work out what the net force is. This is something Anthony can't cope with. When you have two forces, you then have a net force. So we have the gravitational force, the pink arrow, and we have the centrifugal force, the green arrow, and they add together to produce this red arrow. Because you've got two forces acting on something, you add them together. You can do that with simple vector additions. I don't know if you're familiar with vectors. We've got a vector here, a vector there. You just simply add them together, and you then have the net acceleration. So you have an acceleration due to gravity, you have an acceleration due to the centrifugal force. It's dependent on this little r, which is little r is this radius here, not the big R, which is the radius of the equator. So the radius to the axis. From the perpendicular to the axis. So that's what little r is. And that's the force. That's the magnitude of the force of the centrifugal accelerator. Oh, sorry. That is the amount of centrifugal acceleration. I'm using acceleration here rather than forces because the forces are dependent on the masses. So if we just ignore the masses, we can just concentrate on accelerations. So that is a centrifugal acceleration due to centrifugal rotation, so due to rotation, and the pink arrow is due to the gravity. You add them together and you get this. Now, you can then, adding them together, you can ask yourself, now Anthony was saying, okay, well, you should have to be on the inside of the Earth for this to make. No, because the net force is here. So you can see it's still quite close. Because the gravitational force is so much larger, it's actually quite close to being the gravitational force. It just lost this amount. And if you want to know, I've got to hear the equations for how big it is, and you'll find that this is about 0.3%. The length of that green arrow is 0.3%. This is not to scale. This is for illustration. As usual, we get the maths to do the work, and I use the diagrams to illustrate what's going on. And that green arrow is only 0.3% the length of the pink arrow. And if you want to go into the complicated components, you can do this. And the angle that it causes a change, the change of the angle from that you feel towards the center of Earth. In other words, when you feel pulling down, if you're at 45 degrees, this angle beta is actually the angle off towards the center of the Earth that you feel, and that angle is 0.1 degrees. In other words, the pull of gravity that you feel, the combined centrifugal acceleration with the gravitational acceleration is 0.1 degrees off, going towards the center of the Earth.
Okay,
So that
I
is what.
want to ask you something.
Very
Stop for a
interesting
second.
and all.
Okay.
What is the physical evidence of this centrifugal force acting on us?
But well, if you go to the pole, a mass will change its weight by 0.3%. So if you went up to here and you put something on some scales, this is the experiment that Soundly did.
Okay, where's
it would
the
be
evidence?
heavier. Let
Where's
me just
the
finish the sentence. I'm 10 seconds from finish the sentence. So if you take a mass and stick a mass, so for instance, we just take a ball, whoops, or let's do a ball. I stick a ball there and I put it on some scales.
Yeah.
It weighs one
That's
thing.
10 seconds.
That's nice
That's 10
evidence.
Let me just
Sorry,
finish.
That's,
That's 10
that's
seconds.
nice
That's enough.
evidence,
And if
Rumpus,
I then
but
go to
I
here,
have evidence
well,
that
then
kind
hold
of
on. Let me
proves the
just
contrary.
let me finish my
No.
sentence, please.
Do you want more than 10 seconds? 5 seconds. Okay, go.
Right, and then we put the ball on the equator. It will weigh less because it's being
That's
thrown
5
out by the
seconds.
centrifugal
Stop.
force. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. Thank you,
Rumpus.
John.
So where's the
We get it.
evidence?
We get
Yep.
the theory.
Thanks.
Who was asking
Okay?
the question? Are we
Thanks.
all done them?
I
Thanks.
asked you, but you're not giving me evidence. You're just saying.
Now,
Well, that is
he's
evidence. You
giving-
weigh it.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt and just point out what Nummy said while Rumpus talks continually. So, Nummy asked him for what evidence would count for this, and Rumpus started his statement, if you went. So he hasn't presented any evidence. He's postulated what we could do and then asserted that Soundly has done something. So I'll ask another question. Has Soundly been to the North Pole?
Doesn't need to go to the North Pole.
So he just said, if you go to the North Pole, now Rumpus is completely contradicting himself and saying we
No,
don't
no.
need to go to the North Pole.
No, you don't need to. I just demonstrated as an example. You could go here and see that there's a difference
Sorry,
as well.
I'll say it again. So Nummy has asked you for your evidence. I don't care what we could do if I couldn't care less about if we go to anywhere. Just present your evidence for this, please, Rumpus.
I don't have a link to the experiments that have been done, but they have been.
How
get them.
could you even do that?
Hold
even
on,
if
hold
the
on now,
no,
Arwin.
no,
Hold
let
on,
me please
hold on,
get
Arwin.
in a point. Let me
Arwin.
please get in a point.
Arwin, no problem, Rumpus. This is a 2-hour show. We've only just begun. Go and get them. So we'll wait a few minutes while Rumpus goes to get his links to his experiments that he's asserted have been done. So you take your time, mate.
Can I please get in a point?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
When we weigh things, we use scales,
Yep.
which are all subjected to forces like centrifugal force, like gravity.
Correct.
So how could you even weigh the difference?
Right, because
How could you do that basically, and just it would turn out to get the same results?
no, well,
I want to say a quick hi to Brenda and Alan. Good to have you both here. Thanks for being here.
Hi.
Thank you.
right. If we consider up here, then the centrifugal force, this arrow, this is the centrifugal force bit. It only acts like that, which means it does not affect the weight when you're at the equator. But when you're here or when you're down here, it does affect the weight. So if you're at the pole, the scales, that's right angles to the force of gravity for this object here. So it will not interfere in any way. So that means you'll get a greater weight here than you will for an object, whoops, bloody thing, for an object here or an object here, because there you can see the centrifugal force, this is at its maximum, well, it's directly in opposition to the gravitational force, which again always goes along a radial line towards the center. So this is what is 0.3%, your weight would be different here. So if you were carrying a 1 kilogram weight here, it would be 0.3 grams different than when you weighed it up here.
So
So
can we see
that's
some
the
evidence?
total evidence that there's a centrifugal force acting on the Earth. That's the sole evidence.
Well, no, we've
Yes.
got the Foucault's
Yes,
pendulum.
that's a mosquito landing on you. Yeah.
So what is there any this is also a presuppositional argument because
That's
even
not.
if that
That's
was
experimental.
sure it is because
No.
you guys are also claiming that the Earth is fatter than it is tall, right?
Yes.
So that would also affect the
That's well said. That is very, very good point, Num Num. And in fact,
right, but I'm
that's
just saying that you're already presuming centrifugal force when you're doing this experiment to prove centrifugal force.
He's assuming R.
right. That's a very good
So
point.
I'm saying,
you've
is
made.
there any evidence of a centrifugal force acting on Earth?
Yes, because for a start, things like Foucault's pendulum, the Eötvös effect also confirm this, and Coriolis effects also confirm this. But the reason that the Earth is wider at the equator than
There
at
is
the
no
poles,
Coriolis effect.
there is. That's the reason why the Earth is wider at the equator than the pole is because of this very force. This force I've got here that actually pulls out the surface of the Earth by that sort of that amount, that 0.3%.
So are you going to take that into consideration when you do this weighing? Because I don't think that you weren't describing that, because you're going to have a different gravitational.
You're absolutely right. I agree. You have the well spot. I mean, you're using a brain here, because that R here, this R I've got here, is indeed different for this dimension and this dimension, which means you're actually slightly closer to the Earth. Sorry, you're slightly further away here.
But we could have the same kind of effect on a flat Earth, and then you wouldn't. And so this is what I'm saying, is that there could be some kind of other factor similar to that, like whatever's causing the downward acceleration could be varied over the surface. You're still making a presuppositional argument that this is somehow proof or evidence of a centrifugal force acting on Earth.
Well, we can make separate measurements as to the difference in the radius of the Earth, so we can allow for it in that sense. We can experiment on the radius of the Earth, find out the difference, and then account for it in that
Right,
measurement.
but I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that you don't have evidence that anyone's even done this before, and that this is just
they've done it.
a theoretical assumption. And
no, it's all been done. This is all standard, bog standard,
So,
ancient.
Back to what I asked a moment ago, Rumpus. Please, can you go and get us evidence of this, please?
Okay, well, I'd just like to just describe, make clear
Please
what
no.
the.
Please no. Go get your evidence.
You've had plenty of time hogging the mic so far, Rumpus.
The
center
if you make
of
I just said no. Rumpus,
just
Rumpus, you've hogged the mic
Earth
for long
actually
enough.
needs to be physically moving and spinning for that.
Correct.
And I have proof that that's not the case. Mainly, well, something that everyone can use, and that's gyroscopes. And just a good, easy, cheap gyroscope kept on spinning can prove definitely that there is no physical, literal rotation of a ball.
On the contrary,
the gyroscope will stay exactly in place, and it absolutely, under no condition, adapts to any other force.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
If you've got a gyroscope properly set up, it will not change its attitude, providing you make sure it is a good gyroscope. It will do that, and that's exactly why we use it for navigation, because it means we always know the direction to a particular point in the stars, and so when we move.
I'm very glad that you admit that, because now you just proven that both the Earth is flat and it's not spinning.
Gyroscopes confirm the spherical nature of the Earth.
No, they
confirm
don't.
it. They
No,
absolutely
they
do.
don't.
Absolutely
100%.
still in their
Absolutely
axis.
100% do.
Once you spin them up
We
and you
can
spin
see
them up fast
gyroscopes.
enough, they do not change their axis.
They do.
No
They
matter
change
what
their
you do with
position.
it. That's why they use them in super fast planes,
We've got.
because they
This
don't
is how they
change
use
no
it.
matter the force applied to them. They don't adapt to gravity in their direction. They don't adapt to other centrifugal force. They stay exactly as they are.
And that means they show when they change attitude when you stay in the same place, they change their position as the Earth rotates. It's confirmation.
No, they don't.
They do. They do. You've been looking at bad YouTube videos.
So you're saying they
Rumpus.
change because they don't change?
Downright lie.
No, it's not. You've been
You have
looking at bad
absolutely no
YouTube
proof
videos.
of that happening.
You have
listen,
got, you've been looking
I
at bad
talked to-
YouTube videos.
I've
You're a
talked
liar.
to 4 different pilots personally about this, and read, like, I came on the show like 100 shows ago and showed and read out the description of how the gyroscope works from a flight manual. Maybe Nathan Oakley remembers that. And gyroscopes, they're not making any adjustment for the curvature of the
And do you know why that is? Well, they do actually. Do you know how they work internally?
No,
Have you called?
Yeah, I know what it is. It's because the Earth is obviously and observably flat, and gyroscopes back that up. That's why it is. They don't confirm the Earth's a globe. That's complete and utter nonsense. They don't. That's just rubbish. And Nummy Num, absolutely correct. I think it was around show number 100, presented this to everybody and showed them.
Right, we know if you go and look at gyroscope design, they have those vanes for an aircraft to make sure that it does in fact change to reflect your going.
That does not say that that's what they're for. They're just basically the
Fictional.
exhaust valve for the pneumatic system. There's nothing where it says that's part of the.
If you go and look at a
That
gyroscope
system
design,
is
how
a
fun.
fictional technology.
Look up pendulous
It
veins.
doesn't work if it's
Nothing.
turned off. Then
Go and look
I've
at
looked
pendulous
it up.
veins.
I've read about it.
Testimony.
I've done a
You
lot of
haven't read about it
If
properly
the
then.
device is out of order, everything works exactly
Pendulous
the same.
veins reorientate the gyroscope as you go around the
No,
Earth.
they
to make
don't.
sure
How do they do that, Rumpus?
Right, it's very simple. Look, imagine if you wanted
imagine
if you wanted to design an aeroplane and you wanted to know what way was down. What you would probably do, is quite sensibly, I think, is to have a pendulum inside of some mechanism in your airplane, so that you know that always
use a gyroscope.
Oh, no, you don't. No, here's the
That's
reason.
what they use the gyroscopes
I'm about to
for.
explain to you, please, Alwyn. That's what you would do. But the reason that people don't do that is because when you flap the airplane around or something, the pendulum that you would use would flap about and it would have its own inertia. And so you wouldn't have it wouldn't quickly respond to changes in your attitude. So that doesn't work. So what they do is they use a gyroscope, and then they use the pendulous vanes, which open up little valves when the gyroscope is not pointing towards the center of the Earth. Applies a little pressure going on depending how far off it is.
Me?
Absolutely not.
You're saying nonsense.
No, you do
absolutely
not.
not.
You absolutely do not know anything about gyroscopes.
Oh, I do.
Basic.
You have to apply a great force, like a real heavy force, and unbalance the working of the gyroscope to get it to even move. The whole point is that it's left exactly as it is. That's why it's reliable.
No, in an airplane,
they orientate the gyroscope when in a standstill position, using air. Basically, in a standstill position, it will go directly up. Then the gyroscope is spun up. That's used both as the orientation as to what is up and down, and after that, it's completely unchanged.
That's if you had an unmodified gyroscope, the one you might find in a laboratory. But the ones they use in airplanes have adjustments on them to make sure
and
they
those
can.
are fake adjustments. That's a fake mechanism.
I didn't interrupt you. Let me finish my bloody sentence.
It's a fake mechanism.
I didn't
use that.
Owen,
they've only started using that crap system
Owen,
in the
I
last
didn't
decade.
you.
It's
Owen,
absolute nonsense.
Owen, I let you finish. You are not familiar with the way a gyroscope is designed for use.
Yes, I am.
It's not the same as a gyroscope you would find on a laboratory desk, which would maintain its position. It's got mechanical and electronic things in it to reorientate it towards the center of the Earth. Because you don't know that, you've got a problem. That's not my fault. That's your problem.
No, okay, can you provide
a fictional device?
Can you show some sort of actual technical description that is not that comes from an independent source outside of the flat Earth debate that backs what you're saying about these things?
Rumpus.
I've read several flight manuals, and I've read several technical descriptions of gyroscopes, and I have never
there are YouTube videos about this all over the shop.
Guys, supersonic aircraft.
Hello, Alan. What do you
in
want
the
to say?
80s and the 70s just had regular gyroscope. The gyroscope device you're describing is a total machination bullshit device.
Rumpus, if you keep interrupting, Rumpus, I'm going to eject you if you keep doing this.
Okay,
You're constantly talking over everyone else.
I keep being interrupted. Hello, Pet. What do you want to say, Alan?
No, I'm speaking now, Rumpus. If you interrupt again, Arwen was halfway through a sentence for you to babble over the top of him with exactly the same thing again. If you do it again, I'm just going to have to eject you. Learn how to shut your mouth for a little bit.
No, he interrupted me while I was answering. I let him finish his bloody sentence.
Yeah, people interrupt, you included, Rumpus. But if you just continually keep on talking, I'm going to have to kick you out.
Arwen,
well, that's fine. I don't care.
Arwen interrupted him.
Rumpus, you're claiming that this device is necessary. That's total
right,
and utter horseshit.
No, you're talking
utter horseshit because in the 70s and 80s,
always
they
wrong,
had supersonic aircraft that did
and you're wrong again.
That stupid nonsense.
You're just ignorant.
It's a total
Here we go.
machination.
Here we go.
It's a scientific
here we go.
fraud.
Here we go.
Keep on talking over me again.
Here's a picture of a gyroscope with the pendulous unit in it, with the vanes in it.
And was this particular picture taken from a aircraft or gyroscope used in an aircraft from the 70s or 80s, Rumpus?
Right. So here we have a.
Was it used in the 70s or 80s? This depiction, was it manufactured prior to 1980?
I've no idea. But
that's what you've just talked all over. This is your last chance. So you've just interrupted Rumpus. You've just interrupted Arwen and told him that he's ignorant. And what he has stated quite clearly, although you talked over him, was that this wasn't in effect until after the 1980s. So I'll ask again: when was this put into effect? This diagram of a pendulous vane system.
But it describes ancient. This
Are you deaf?
Principle.
When was it put into effect?
This particular picture or the idea.
What do you think? Do you think I care about the picture or the actual bloody gyroscope, you retard?
Right, in World War II, they had gyroscopes.
They had pendulous vanes.
Yes, I believe so. I believe.
I
they did. They
believe
had-
so. Are we back to Rumpus and his religious beliefs about these things? Or are you actually going to evidence what Arwen has criticised you for? He has asserted that this pendulous vane system, not gyroscopes, you retard, was not in effect prior to 1980. So now, go and get your evidence that proves that they were used in World War II, as you believe that pendulous vanes were used with gyroscopes.
You're an idiot. Right, they had this design in World War II. Spitfires, for instance, had an artificial horizon. They would have used this sort of design with pendulous
Absolute
vanes.
nonsense.
Let's
Ron.
You've
prove
no idea what you're talking about, and you're ignorant about all of science. You don't even know about trigonometry.
Show
You're a
me
moron.
when they used it. Show me the patent for the system.
Oh God!
From what time it is, because if I'm not mistaken, I think that it was pretty much introduced in the 90s.
You're talking bollocks. You're saying
No,
we didn't have artificial
you don't-
horizons until the 90s. You're an idiot.
No,
What
there's
happened-
veins, but they don't do that.
They do.
Show me a
happened-
technical description.
Regular
ignorant.
mechanical gyroscopes, it was very handy, very easy system. They didn't need to put all that nonsensical crap around it,
They do.
suggesting
Otherwise,
a
you
globe
have a
Earth.
problem.
They just
They
didn't
did
care.
do
It was
because
just
you're
not for the public to know. They just use the systems that worked. And that is a gyroscope. And a gyroscope is a very
What
reliable
evidence do you
device.
have, Arwen, for your claim?
You have to provide the evidence. You're making the
No,
claim.
Arwen's making a claim.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. The Wikipedia page, right? It's going to say that. And then there's going to be, I've looked at this, and then there's going to be a link to where the source of that information is. And then that source of that information doesn't say anything about it.
Arwen's claim
Someone
is that
just edited Wikipedia to claim that these pendulous vanes adjust for gravity. Click on the actual article that it links to. It doesn't say a damn thing about it.
For instance,
It's
here's another thing showing you the pendulous vanes in action. I've got showing here. This is showing how they puff.
There's an air exhaust. This is what I'm saying.
Yes,
There is
yes,
a pendulous
and that's
pendulous
it.
vane has nothing
Right,
to do
it
with
does,
making
it
an
does.
adjustment for gravity.
Right, so you know, right, so you are aware of these exhausts, and do you know what opens the exhaust? These little flaps called pendulous vanes, which open depending on their angle to
Okay,
the center
so-
of the Earth.
But it has nothing to do with making an adjustment to gravity.
It is because these things hang vertically, and so what they do is they puff out a little bit of air to push it in the right
Okay,
direction
well,
to
show
make
me a
it align.
description.
Oh, really? They push
Show
it in
me
a
a
direction.
technical
Can you show me that
description.
in the design, how it's supposed to push it in a direction?
Here's the visual.
You're
Here's
just
a little graphic.
making that up. There's nowhere in any technical description of a
God.
gyroscope's operation.
There is. There's there. There it is. There.
Okay, then show it to us.
There.
That doesn't say anything about that there. I'm zooming in. Exhaust air equal in all directions. Gyro erect.
Right.
Gyro
so you-
processes, increasing
right,
exhaust
so
at
you
port
are
A.
aware. Okay. but
Processing force at port A erects gyro exhaust air again equal at all ports. Doesn't
Right,
say
so you-
anything about making an adjustment for gravity.
Okay, but that's what's doing. But
Sorry, what do you mean, okay? So, you've asserted this is a technical spec that proves that it keeps in line with gravity. Well, no, it doesn't, Rumpus. So, what's your answer to that? Not just okay. You've said on screen now on a tiny little diagram.
right, do you accept, therefore, that
Yeah, right. No, I don't accept, therefore. We've asked you for several things. Proof that this was in effect prior to 1980, and a technical description of how it actually operates. You have provided neither.
you must? It says applied force here, Num Num. It says applied force and precession. So you can see here that the gyroscope is being adjusted, contrary to what Arwen was claiming. It is being affected by these little exhaust things.
No, it's pneumatically driven.
Yes.
listen.
And the little flaps point vertically, and they adjust little puffs of air to get it to orientate.
No, it's just so that you can
What do
still
you think these
drive
are
the
for?
thing
Hold on,
when
what
it's
do you
not
think these are
when it's
for?
not
These
vertical.
pendulous
I'd
veins.
like
What
to
do you
hear
think they're
Nami
doing?
Num's explanation, Rumpus. Can you please let him explain? What were you saying, Nami?
I'm saying that it's because it's so that it's just to allow the pneumatic system to drive the gyro properly when it's not vertical.
No, the reason they introduced this pneumatic system was so they could use these pendulous
Okay,
veins
well,
to make
show the
adjustments.
proof, please, because that's bullshit, and I know it. I've read. Listen, I read like 3 or 4 different flight manuals.
Well, you didn't do it very well, did you?
Okay, well, you're not going to find anything that backs up what you're saying. Nothing, guarantee.
Goodness gracious.
You've just drank the Wolfie Kool-Aid.
No,
That's all
you
that's
just are
going on.
ignorant. I'm sorry. I mean,
No, you're ignorant.
You
You're
actually
not-
make you occasionally make some
Okay,
intelligent
if
comments.
I'm the ignorant one,
enlighten us.
then prove me wrong.
Hey, well,
dumbass.
Here we
You're-
go. Right, here we go. Here
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah, it's going to say that in Wiki. Then I'm saying click that link where it says the source of this information doesn't say a damn thing about that. That's just something that somebody edited in there just for the purposes of throwing people off. But
So you're
you know how
not allowed to use Wikipedia. Is that
So
right?
go to the link.
no, I'm saying
Click the link.
Wikipedia has cites a source. See that little tiny number next to gravity there? Go to that source, and it does not say anything. It says blah blah blah. Attitude control is, or it says some whatever about gravity, that it's supposed to make an adjustment for gravity, right? Well, then they cite a source of that claim, right? It says attitude indicators have mechanism. Okay, stop scrolling. Can you stop scrolling?
Okay, what do you want to see?
Just stop right there.
Right.
Attitude indicators have mechanisms that keep the instrument level with respect to the direction of gravity. See that little number to the net?
Yes, and I went down here. There's not a very useful link here. There's this one
So
here.
if you click that link, please,
that's where-
right
that's
now.
not a source.
Rumpus.
No, here it is,
Rumpus.
actually, does it?
Yeah, and it doesn't
Rumpus.
say anything
Rumpus.
about-
Absolutely unbelievable.
Rumpus. Can you click that
Yes.
link, please? Number 3, next to gravity. Go and click it,
Okay.
please.
The Apollo Flight Journal.
No.
No.
Go up to the top.
I clicked on 8. What do you want me to click on?
I've just circled it for the audience on several occasions. It's been pointed
What?
out
There's
by
no
Nummy.
Source
Now all you
for
need to
their
do is click on it.
information, Right?
I
But the
can't hear you,
information
Nathan.
that they cite doesn't say what they're saying it says. Bullshit. This is the problem with Wikipedia.
Click it,
Wikipedia
please.
is
Click
not
it.
not
Okay,
honest.
well, I'll go and find a non-Wikipedia source then.
Click
You're
it,
just
please.
basically fighting against
Okay,
reality
please
here.
do it.
You're
Please do it.
fighting
Please find me an
against
actual
reality.
technical manual.
You haven't read it
Gyroscopes
properly.
in flight.
Right, but what do you think? Did you see that in that diagram that I showed you, that it had pendulous veins coming out of different...
Yeah,
they got
did you
little
hear
pendulous-
my I explained
Yeah, I
it.
know, and I'm about to counter that explanation because they wouldn't need little pendulous veins that change only open depending on whether how relates to being vertical. If what you said was the case, they wouldn't have this complicated mechanism to just exhaust. They just have a series of holes to allow the pneumatic
Yes,
thing
they
to get
would.
out.
You don't know what
No,
you're talking about. You're
you
not
are an
going to
idiot. You are
Okay,
a moron.
listen,
You're
if they
denial
made
of
it-
reality.
No, you're a
Okay, let me go and
wolfy
get some
Kool-Aid
better.
drinking
I will get some
moron.
better. I will get some better.
No, you're a Kool-Aid drinking moron.
No
That's the
idea what you're
problem
talking
here.
about.
Go get the evidence. Get an Adderall drip and go get your evidence.
Listen, if there
Yeah,
is,
and please get a technical design manual from the 40s.
Yeah,
Using
you
that
do.
same
How about
system,
you?
that would
How
be
about you do
interesting.
that? No, instead of just asking me to do everything, why don't you bloody well do something?
I've tried
I'm
to.
not making
I tried
these
to do this.
claims.
Listen, for 1 second. When I first got into flat Earth a little over a year ago, I was not I did not want to think the Earth was flat. Okay, and this was a major bone of contention for me, and I have really poured over as much as was available in terms of technical literature. And I'm saying if there was an adjustment for gravity built into these gyros, you would find it described in the technical literature somewhere, and it's simply not
Why
there.
would they
Can I just add to that? If there was an adjustment for gravity, that you would then prove it with a photograph of the mechanism that's doing exactly that. But by citing it or trying to prove it with a drawing, that is not empirical. It's rhetorical.
And people claim it like Wolfie or even on Wikipedia, but I'm
These are
saying
the
I'm
engineering
looking at
designs I've got in
actual
front of you here.
technical manuals.
Yeah, but
Technical
it's
flight
a
Why would
diagram.
they-
It's
why
a
would they
diagram. It's not
explain
evident.
Oh,
Also,
God.
can I add just a tiny little point, extra side note, and that is, if this system, supposedly is helping the gyroscopes adapt to the gravity center point, then what about those laboratory gyroscopes that don't have that system, that just spin and just stay exactly as they are for an entire day, for
They
much
don't.
longer than a day? They
Laboratory
don't have this adaptation
That's
system.
correct. That's correct. And what's more, but they do
Laboratories-
okay.
That's
if you have
right.
a-
And if you
if you have a
transport
well-made
these
gyroscope,
gyroscopes over a very vast surface of
be
Earth,
looking
they
at
will
too
stay
many bad
exactly as they are.
Rumpus,
The
you're doing it
gyroscopes in
again.
the lab
You're
will
doing it again.
rotate.
Rumpus, Arwen was in the middle of talking, and you're confirming and then denying what he's saying. Just wait till he's finished.
Oh, okay.
What I was saying is that even if this system, as you described it, with the modernized gyroscopes, is supposed to adapt the gyroscopes to gravity, then there's still the regular gyroscopes that do not have this system, that people can just spin up, take with them in their truck, ride all over the United States from one side to the other, and the gyroscope will stay exactly as it
No,
is.
it won't.
It does not have a system to adapt to
Correct.
gravity.
That is correct.
Put it on your coffee table.
Let me respond to that point. Let me respond to Owen's point. Yes, I know what you're saying. And you're absolutely right that they do not have a system where the conventional gyroscope that you're talking about would not have that corrective system. What's more, those sorts of gyroscopes, provided they're properly made, will rotate. You've been watching too many. You've been watching too many bad YouTube. No,
you have absolutely.
I'm with Arwen. I'm with Arwen.
Okay, Arwen.
Rumpus. That's
Demonstrate.
not true.
There's
been YouTubers out there that have done this.
You've
and
made
they
a
show
claim.
that it
You're
did
talking
You've made a claim,
non-stop.
You've made a claim. Back it up, because you've been proved to be wrong.
Rumpus, we've got
Back up your
90%
claim, Arwen.
Rumpus on this show at the moment. Just try to close your mouth when other people speak. You've got OCD.
Okay, I'm responding to Arwen's point. He finished. I'm trying to answer his point.
No, he didn't finish. He was in the middle of a sentence.
Had finished. He made his point, and I'm telling him his claim, he's got to back it up because he would be proved wrong. He'll be quoting some bad YouTube video and not any sort of engineering-based or any...
Well, like you've just done. That's precisely what you've done. You've said there's loads of YouTube videos about this, and you've been asked to go and get evidence on several occasions, and you have provided none. You absolute hypocrite. What are you talking about? Why are you even still here? Why have you not got data to back up the fact that pendulous vanes were used before 1980, or that they actually do what you say they do and adjust for gravity? Why haven't you gone and got this evidence of the stuff you've asserted? Now you're telling Arwen off for doing exactly that. What are you on about?
Can I just say something? I'd just like to correct one thing. Rumpus says that the pendulous vanes make a correction for ... What the pendulous vanes actually do is they convert the mechanism that they use to power the pendulum, the gyroscope, into momentum to keep the gyroscope moving. So what they do is the gyroscopes are vacuum fed, and they suck in air from the outside, and the pendulous vanes convert the movement of air into the rotation to keep the gyroscope moving.
Sorry, did you see how Rumpus did it again? He hadn't finished, Rumpus. Rumpus, this is your last chance. If you interrupt somebody before they finish their sentence again, I'm just going to have to kick you out.
Anthony had finished.
No, I hadn't. There was a word and.
Go on then.
And if you are going to produce any evidence to the contrary, it needs to be a photograph of the actual the gyroscope, not a diagram, because drawings are not actual proof. So, like, drawings, you can draw anything you want.
I would accept.
I'm trying to answer this point here. I'm trying to answer this point. Anthony, the pneumatic feed to the gyroscope does two things. One, it speeds up the gyroscope itself, keeping it rotating. The second thing is that the pendulous vanes, which are not associated with rotating the gyroscope, they're only associated with releasing little holes, little spurts of air to reorientate it. That's not the
point with photographic evidence.
Well, that's what the diagram I showed. This diagram here.
Diagram.
Sorry, it seems he's deaf. He's just said prove it with a photograph, and he said I've shown it in this diagram. Try to open your ears, Rumpus. This is the problem, because you talk continually. You don't hear what's being said.
I don't have a photograph to hand.
Rumpy.
Right. So hold on. Let me just finish this. You see these little pendulous vanes here? You can see they're nothing to do with spinning up the
You don't give a crap. You've not got any proof. Move on. You don't care, Rumpus. You've got no proof to back up your assertion. Stop asserting it now.
He hasn't got any proof to the contrary.
No, we don't. You have to prove the assertion, you idiot.
Hold him to the same standard, Nathan.
No, you are making this assertion, Rumpus. Therefore, you will prove it, and you haven't.
Get him to provide evidence what he said is true, because he'll be shown to be wrong.
No, you're the one claiming pendulous vanes. You're the one claiming that pendulous vanes somehow tie it to gravity. You have not proven this in any way, shape, or form. You've provided no evidence. You've provided crappy cartoons.
What you're saying in this diagram anyway.
See these little things, they dangle towards the center, they dangle down, you see, they dangle vertically. And when they're not dangling vertically, they open up and then reorientate the gyroscope to make it dangle vertically. This is not what Anthony said. It's got nothing to do with these little pendulous vanes, which he was talking about, powering up the gyroscope inside. So he's completely and utterly wrong.
Rumpus, read that sentence that starts with... the gyroscopic AI has an erection mechanism. Read that entire sentence.
Which one? This one here?
A gyroscopic AI has an erection mechanism.
Oh, here we go.
Read the whole sentence.
Here we go. Exactly. That's absolutely correct. Yes, here has an erection mechanism to keep it vertical, in other words, which continuously corrects the AI to be upright, i.e. vertical, on the local level, or downward. It's this. Thank you very much, Brenda. For
downward acceleration vector.
Exactly.
What would that be? What would another word for that be? That would be called gravity, wouldn't it?
All right, so let me
an authoritative.
Let me respond.
That's gravity.
Let me
This is
respond.
not an authoritative source. Show me
Downward
that.
And here we go. The web directs itself with a system of
gravity.
No.
Let me respond.
You can
Let me
find
respond.
anybody's opinion on the internet. I'm
It's
saying, show
gravity.
me this. Yeah, I know. You said that it's gravity already.
This is
but
on an
this is-
aviation
Well, that's
website.
what you wanted to know. You said
It
it
doesn't
didn't
matter. You could
about
find.
gravity, and it
If
does.
I can find an aviation website that says something to the contrary, then who's to
Absolutely. You do it. Go on, show me.
No,
then.
I'm not going to do it. I'm saying
No, you-
let's
you
find
keep
it in
on
a
asking
real
me to do
source,
stuff.
like a
You
technical
produce
manual.
one thing. You produce one thing to support your case. I've produced lots of stuff here. You've produced nothing.
The diagram supports my
Nothing.
case, and I've talked to 4
No,
pilots
this
and I've
diagram
read several flight
absolutely
manuals.
supports me.
No. You find a technical manual,
Exactly.
a flight
Technical.
manual,
That's
a,
what I want to see.
a technical description of a gyroscope that explains this.
This is
mechanism.
semi-technical.
One right there.
No, it is not. This is just somebody,
No, this
anybody
this
went
backs it off.
online and typed out some sentences.
No,
It isn't going to matter
Yes,
because
yes, that's
any
what it is.
evidence that's brought
Yeah, you're
before
just-
you,
you're
you'll
just
simply
no.
deny.
No,
You're
well,
No, this is not
the
evidence.
evidence.
This is just somebody's description with a diagram. This
Cartoon.
is
No,
the
just
diagram-
as
This is a cartoon. This is not evidence. It is a cartoon from Wikipedia. This is not evidence. You idiots.
somebody who's
Right,
trying.
can I have the mic a sec, please?
Wait, 1 second. One more thing. This is somebody who's trying to fix their cognitive dissonance problem with the way that planes fly, who's convinced himself that this is how gyroscopes work. But I'm saying, if you actually find a you will not find this mechanism you are describing.
Go on then.
Any
Prove that.
technical, shut up. Any technical manual.
Well,
you
they
prove
all
that they
show
do.
it.
How am I supposed to prove it? I've
They've
already.
shown- You've not proved
Why are
anything.
you unwilling to show a technical description?
well,
of a gyroscope?
Right, Numi, let me have the mic a sec. Numi, let me speak. Right, Nathan, would you share my screen, please?
Yeah, sure.
If we put into Google the function of pendulous veins, we get the comment that Brenda just cited from, and it sounds credible. It sounds like it debunks everything that we were just discussing. I'm not going to repeat it, reread it, because there's no purpose to it other than it supports what Brenda just said. However, when you click images, you would expect to get actual photographs of these pendulous veins. And look what we actually get. We get diagrams, drawings, illustrations, and it's very, very like non-empirical. It sounds credible.
Those are pendulous veins right there. You got one right up right now.
Can you show me
Which one?
It's right there.
Which one?
In
Where?
the image that's right there.
This
Point
one?
to it. Tell me which one. We've got
No,
6 images,
the one
9
the one
images
that's
on
in the
screen.
black background.
Which one?
Those are those pendulous veins.
This one here with the black background here.
Yeah.
Do you mean this one?
It says scroll up on the black background. It says gyroscope basics and pendulous veins.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Brenda. Can you direct
Scroll
me
up
specifically?
to the enlarged image. That one.
To the right
Attitude
there.
indicator.
Yeah,
It
click
says
on that. I've seen that image before. I've used that
gyroscope
image.
basics
That's
and
not
pendulous
not a
veins.
picture. That's a cartoon, Brenda. It seems that the ballers have great difficulty distinguishing between real things and cartoons. I don't really understand it. It's amazing.
And you've nothing.
I know you don't understand images.
Well, hang on.
but
Yeah, cartoons. Yeah, that's what we're looking at. Cartoons of things. That's what we're looking at. It's not that I don't understand what an image is. I understand what a cartoon is, and these are cartoons.
But none of these cartoons are gonna. None of these cartoons are like the technical literature says anything about making an adjustment, a continuous adjustment for gravity.
That's a fair point. So what
Can I
I,
interject? Can I interject?
now, hang on. Now all I want to show is that this is a cartoon of our model. So now we have a model. It's a cartoon. If cartoons are considered to be acceptable evidence,
models are. That's what that is. It's a model.
And
don't
I
need to
still
go
haven't
there.
seen any proof that they actually did use them before the 80s in airplanes,
Well, you
in
have to prove
supersonic
that, you have
airplanes.
to prove your claim that they weren't used before.
That's
the
sorry,
80s.
no, that's not how it works, Brenda. He doesn't have to prove that they didn't. You have to prove that they did, if you assert that they did. So you are asserting that they absolutely used pendulous veins prior to 1980. So it should be dead easy to reference. It should be dead easy for you to prove that true. He doesn't have to prove it false.
Yes,
they've been used since the 1940s, basically.
No, that would be
Basically?
gyroscopes, would it not?
What do you mean by basically?
Well, I don't know the exact time, but they were saying they were used. Things that had attitude indicators in them would have had them into things like Spitfire, for instance, had an attitude indicator.
Attitude
So
indicator
they
is
must have
just a
existed.
gyroscope. It doesn't have pendulous veins just because it's an attitude indicator.
Oh, you do. You have to do that. You have to do
Oh,
it.
show, prove it.
It doesn't matter. The pendulous
you absolutely do.
No, it doesn't matter. The pendulous veins don't do what these guys are saying they do. It's just
they do. You're ignorant of what they do. I've shown you the design of them.
You're drinking Wolfie
how they work. I've even shown you in that diagram how they work and how they make the adjustments.
No,
they would not.
That diagram
would
does
not have that complicated mechanism.
Rumpy, I've posted a video for you. It's from Wolfie. It's a cross section of an actual gyroscope with pendulous veins. Funnily enough.
Oh, thank you.
But it's not. It does.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, Alan.
Does not prove that it's making an adjustment for gravity. Sorry, it doesn't.
That's what that citation said.
No, it didn't.
Just read it out. Yes, it did. It said the downward vector, the acceleration vector. That's what gravity is.
Sorry, that's what gravity is. So it said it accounted for gravity, and you're saying it accounts for an acceleration vector. That's what you're saying. But now you're saying that that just is gravity. So you've said it says gravity. It doesn't actually say gravity, though, does it, Brenda? It doesn't say that.
Thing, but your guys are claiming that it's making an adjustment for curvature. Yeah, there's a downward. There's also a downward acceleration in the flat Earth version of reality.
No, there isn't.
Yeah, there is.
Go wait.
Yeah, 2 days ago, we argued about this, and we agreed that we could call it DA, right? That we agree things fall. Yeah, nobody's arguing that.
You don't agree that there's a theory of gravity.
Downward direction, but most of the rest of us do.
An acceleration vector would be a part of the theory, the theory of Newton's theory of gravity.
There is no Newton's theory.
There's an acceleration vector regardless.
No, that's a model. That's a model. That's a scientific theory. You're just
models are pseudoscience, and there is no scientific Newton theory. Yes, they are. I'm going to show you here in a few minutes.
I'm not claiming. I'm not citing Newton's model.
Right, so we have a video, thanks to
there's such a thing as the downward direction.
Thanks to Alan B, we have a video.
There's such a thing as falling.
But that's a modern gyroscope. I'd like to see. Can you show me a gyroscope from a B-12 bomber, for example?
Actually, no. Let's accept that pendulous veins do actually exist. Let's see what happens when.
Let's
see them prove this effect that they are correcting for, because that's what Wolfie's trying to show. And although he's flicking it with a screwdriver, he's not showing that it's correcting for the gravity.
No.
Hey, Dawn,
Wolfie is a sophisticated liar about all things aeronautically related, but he can't back up any of what he's saying with technical manuals.
Only pictures. Yeah, he's only got pictures of them in action.
How these gyroscopes physically work.
He has actual photographs.
Yes, photographs, video of him in action.
You know what?
You demanded photographs, and we give you a photograph, and it's not good enough for you.
Yeah. Well, because it doesn't show what he's claiming it's doing in the photograph. So what good is it?
Showing it gets corrected. The only way it could get corrected, having moved it, is by the pendulous veins. Nummy, he's making an adjustment, and he's showing that it gets corrected back to being vertical.
No, he's not.
Pendulous veins.
He's showing that there's movement when he flicks it with a screwdriver.
And it then eventually settles down to correct to be the right orientation.
But that's not proving causation of the rotation or the gravity adjustment for Earth.
But the point is.
Big shout out to Joey for the super chat. Thank you very much.
That is the point he's making, but he's not proving it.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, what's the independent
saying what it does?
So you accept that it reorientates itself to be vertical?
No. I'm saying that he's flicking it with a screwdriver, and that's all it proves.
Yeah, no, but then it reorientates itself to be vertical, Anthony. It works out where vertical
is. The
pendulous veins. Hold on, Anthony. Let me finish. And the pendulous veins have caused it to do that. So it doesn't do what Arwin claims. And hold on, Anthony. Let me finish. It doesn't do what Arwin claims and stay pointing where it was left. He moves it, and then the pendulous veins cause it to reorientate itself to be vertical. Carry on.
It doesn't prove causation. All it proves.
Oh God!
All it proves
got the
is
video evidence there.
No, there's no video evidence that it's making an adjustment for curvature. What you're not understanding is that the gyroscope is new. Shut up.
No, it's not doing curvature.
No, shut your mouth. Listen.
It's just doing it to orientate itself to the center of the Earth.
You don't understand. Pneumatically driven. Do you understand what pneumatically driven means?
I do, and I understand how this mechanism
tell me what pneumatically driven means, please.
It's driven by airflow.
Right. So there's and the pendulous veins are what?
They open and close depending on their. Well, actually, if you ask me a question, I'll answer it. The pendulous veins open depending on their attitude to the vertical and the way, and then gas from the pneumatic force, drives out, and then reorientates it to the vertical.
Okay, that's not. You're not going to show me that in any kind of technical description or flight
We've got
manual.
it happening here in this video.
The pendulous veins are
it's
just
happening in this video. How do you think it's reorientating itself to be vertical? It's doing it by that mechanism in this video.
That's the point. It isn't doing
it. It is.
Not what it's
How
doing.
is it coming back to being vertical?
It's not. It maintains its position.
It is. No, he flicks it from the vertical and it reorientates itself to be vertical because of the action of the pendulous veins.
Can we have a timestamp for that?
Yeah, but we're talking about making an adjustment for the curvature
right.
of the Earth.
If you listen to me, Nundum, the reason all it has to do is to point to the center of the Earth. That is effectively making a
Okay, but you're presuming the center of the Earth, silly.
Yes.
Dumbass.
It goes to the.
So you're making your.
Center. By the that's where gravity points, the gravity vector, the gravity acceleration, little g, points to the center of the Earth, and it aligns itself with it.
No, but the pendulous veins, I'm pretty sure what they're actually doing is they're.
You don't know.
You need to research.
What are they doing?
Rumpus, for God's sake.
Okay. Go ahead,
Well, he cannot let anyone finish the sentence.
Go on.
I wonder why that is.
I have proof right here.
Hold on. No.
Two bomber had a Sperry gyroscope. There's even pictures of it. It does not have the system. It does not have this.
Well, then, as I said, a lab gyroscope wouldn't. This is for ones using planes.
Just hold on.
No, he's talking about an airplane.
Yeah, share screen. Let's have a little look.
Hold on. I'm still working on it.
No
right
problem.
here.
You take your time, Marwin.
This is a Sperry gyroscope, which is what was used in the B-2 bomber. Look at it. Does that look like it has that system?
That's a desk system. That wasn't in a plane.
This is a Sperry gyroscope. See here.
That wasn't in a plane. That's on a desk.
That's what B-2 bombers used. It's described right here. Was used for the autopilot on a B-2 bomber.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, hold on. We haven't established anything at all. We've got a picture of this thing, and now we need to establish the mechanism.
Those are diagrams.
Oh, right, Rumpus. Precisely what we asked you to do, correct?
And I've shown them. I've shown you diagrams of the pendulous
diagrams.
I've shown you a video diagrams
as
well.
That's good. That's good, Rumpus. But the B-2 bomber didn't use that system.
Okay, let's go look up. Okay, I'll go look up a B-2 bomber.
You need to prove it with a video showing that that's what it does.
Oh, really?
Photographs. It's not even a diagram.
The photographs aren't good enough for us.
Of the system that they used.
If the photograph's not good enough for us, it's not good enough for you.
Yeah, so go and get us a video of the pendulous veins accounting for gravity, please, Brenda.
Diagrams aren't good enough for us.
Yeah, we want technical explanations from technical details, from books that have been published and used by pilots and engineers. That's what we want, not a wiki entry.
Was it, Arwen?
I don't see
the find it yourself.
I just see this is just Google.
Which bomber? Which bomber?
We're not asserting this, Tim.
B-52.
We're not asserting that pendulous veins prove the Earth is flat now, are we?
Well, your Nummy asserted that what's his face is a liar, and he didn't provide any evidence. You guys can assert anything, but
oh god, not another one. Hey, Nathan.
A different standard being held
during the second hour. Can I just have a 5-minute presentation after all these guys are done? Just a short.
Is it a word presentation? Absolutely. Will you have Yosemite Sam and a baby crying?
Are you going to snipe people, Tim?
Been here for 10 minutes.
Okay, well, don't snipe people, please.
I think if I snipe people, Nathan wouldn't want me on here, so don't worry.
I can't do anything about sniping. Okay. That's why I'm keeping my mouth shut.
That's you too, Tim.
I don't know why Brenda's telling him anything. He can do what he likes. So can everybody. You're
Somebody
all free
gets my
to do whatever.
Tony?
Still doesn't prove causation that they exist.
It does. Got video showing it.
No, it doesn't. You have to show. Well, it's kind of like you know how like the 7/6R adjustment in the maths for the standard refraction is based on a hypothetical or an apparent radius. Well, you kind of have to show that there is actually a gravitational force that they need to address.
Just put something in a vacuum. Drop a feather in a vacuum, Anthony, and you will see it in action.
Yeah, and all that does is remove the air resistance against the feather.
Yeah, but they drop at the same rate.
You haven't adjusted or varied. No, they don't drop at the same rate at all.
Yeah, they do.
Oh my
Who
God.
cares? Who
Oh
cares?
my
We're
God.
going to deal with your fairy tale vacuum chamber here in a
Did you
couple
hear
minutes.
that? You're claiming that in a vacuum chamber, a feather and another object, heavier object, do not drop at the same rate. Is that what you just said, Anthony?
When you remove the air resistance, they fall at the same rate, but with the air resistance, they don't.
Yes,
So
that's because there's another force. That's because there's another force acting, isn't it? There's an force of air resistance.
Your dependent variable then has been the air resistance, and it's nothing to do with the
There are two forces. There are two forces. When something falls, there are two forces. One is the force of gravity. The other one, and also combined with the centrifugal force, is a very small effect, and the air resistance that's going to oppose.
So we're coming up on approximately 1 hour left on this live stream. I hope you're all enjoying the debate thus far. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside the show while it's live. Massive thanks to Joey for hitting the super chat in this show. Or there's a link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Massive thanks to all who have shared. Please share the show as it increases the live audience, of course, and this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. As I say, there's about 1 hour left on this live
Centrifugal force is a force. Here we go. There's my diagram.
Well, technically,
Can you see? Can you see? It's a fictitious force, yeah, but it behaves. We can treat it as a real force in this thing. So there you go, Anthony. There's the diagram. This is you standing on the
Just specifically, what's the answer to the question? Which is the greater force? Is it centrifugal?
I told you it's 0.3%. The centrifugal force is 0.3% of the gravitational force. How many times do I have to say this?
So the centrifugal force is 0.3% of gravity.
Yes, of G. The gravitational 0.3%. That's how small it is.
Why is it not shown in the mathematical equation for gravity?
Because it's independent. You add it in when you've got a situation where it's in. How would you know what to include if you're on a different planet? The gravitational force.
Another big shout out to Joey. Thanks again for the super chat. Much obliged. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
The equation that you found, Anthony, the equation you found just accounts for the pink arrow in my diagram. If you want to know what's actually happening on the surface of the Earth, you then add in the centrifugal force to get the net effect. But the gravitational equation doesn't change. You add in the centrifugal acceleration into the equation.
That maths, please.
Sorry?
Can you show me the authority for that maths cited?
The gravitational Newton one.
Yeah,
just give us where you got R from. Where did you get R from?
This little R here.
The big R that shows the radius. Where'd you get that?
That's the radius of the Earth.
Where'd you get that?
From the radius of the Earth.
Sorry, where did you get the radius of the Earth? The answer is not the radius of the Earth, is it now?
We measured it. You can calculate it. I got.
Sorry, you measured it or you calculated it? You said two things in quick succession. You said we measured it, we calculated it. So which one is it?
Yeah, we measured it. We can measure
What's your independent variable?
With a theodolite, you can do it.
A theodolite?
Anybody can.
Really? You can measure the circumference of the Earth?
Yeah, a chap in the 11th century, a Persian, got up a hill in Afghanistan. He actually looked down to the sea and he got a very accurate value for the radius of the Earth in the 11th century, something Anthony doesn't seem capable of doing even now, 900 years.
Yeah, it's because we've got an apparent horizon, so that measurement's kind of been debunked several times by Anthony Riley.
No, it's never. Anthony hasn't.
Anthony's not debunked anything I've ever done.
Yeah, he has. He's debunked the dip angle claim that you can go and measure the horizon with a theodolite, and you can't because we don't have a horizon. We have an apparent horizon.
Yeah, Rumpus, you said you were going to go and get evidence of two things. The first one was that you're going to show us that there's some kind of evidence of a centrifugal force acting upon the Earth.
Right.
You haven't done that. And the other,
I told you the measurements. I mean, I've told you that that people have.
Sorry, again, Rumpus. He said evidence. We don't want to care about the measurements. We want to care about the proof.
You want me to go and find you an experiment? Okay, right.
No, and I also
Nathan, you said apparent horizon. What is
I would
that?
also like.
I asked that before.
Okay,
yeah,
Carl,
shut up.
Let him finish.
I would also like you to go find evidence that the
veins do what they do. Right?
pendulous veins are there to make an adjustment for the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah. No. They don't make an adjustment curvature. All they do is they align the gyroscope with the vertical, which in effect makes the lab.
No. They compensate for the airflow, for the fact that the airflow is not symmetrical when the gyro is not in the.
No, you don't. You haven't. You need to.
Yes, that's what they do.
No. You need to go and research it a bit more.
I have.
You've done a bad job.
No, I'm not doing a bad job. I've talked to 4 pilots about
it's
this.
In that they don't know, They don't know.
But I've also read several flight manuals, and I'm telling you,
they don't tell you how the gyroscope works in a flight manual. They just tell you how to use it.
Can we just clarify?
Where are you getting your information about how pendulous vanes work? Wolfie?
No.
Well, you're not going to find any kind of technical literature.
You will, Num. You really.
Okay, show us then. That's what I'm saying. I'm demanding that you show evidence of
it. Okay, I will go and try and get something authoritative for you.
Well, this is
he'll do your homework for you, Nathan. What is?
I've already done my homework.
You haven't.
Yeah, I have. Okay, well then go find it. It should be simple.
It's Rumpus's assertion that he's asking for evidence for. It's not Nummy's homework.
We're in court right now.
Yeah, his assertions require evidence.
Pendulous vanes correct for gravity. It's not
only for our side.
They're never going to come up with this evidence, and it's their assertion. I guarantee you, these retarded idiots will never come up with this evidence.
Cool.
Never.
Nathan, what is an apparent horizon? I'm trying to figure that out.
Well, apparent horizon, that's redundant.
Yeah, change the topic.
Thank you.
You're a weasel. You guys are legally.
What's an apparent horizon?
Wow.
It's redundant.
Lying.
Yes, it is.
What is an apparent horizon, Numby?
An apparent horizon is where Rumpus claims that its theodolite points to, so that you can make one sum and calculate for the radius of the Earth. That's what an apparent horizon is.
Not a sum, Anthony. It's a formula.
That's right. And what does apparent mean?
It means not actual.
The
horizon
that you see, the horizon, for instance, in Anthony's composite video, that is very close to the geometrical horizon, but due to refractions, it is very slightly off. Where the
Why are you changing the topic? Well, I can't help myself. Rumpus, go get the evidence that you said you were going to get.
Yeah, okay, I'm doing 2 things at once, Karen.
Yeah, get the Adderall drip.
2 things at once for an hour. Where's the centrifuge? Where's the evidence of the centrifugal force acting on Earth? Please.
Okay,
you said you were going to get it.
Okay, it's not a trivial.
You're still getting it?
Well, given the fact that you couldn't find it after how much research you've been doing, I've got to go and do it in a few seconds.
I'm not the one claiming it. I don't think
I'm right though. And you're
acting on Earth, retard.
I mean, the fact you've missed it is, oh God. I mean,
no,
me.
Listen,
you're incompetent.
There's no centrifugal force acting on Earth. I'm asking you to provide evidence.
No, me. You have to provide Rumpus's evidence, for crying out loud.
Yeah, of course.
Don't you know that?
His work.
No, he's the one. I've provided.
No, but I'm just saying, don't change the topic.
Nothing, Num. You've provided absolutely.
I don't have to provide anything. I'm not making the claim.
I didn't change the subject. Actually, Nathan said it.
Well, I provided.
You're just here to.
I have a live video
here to
right
cause
here
a mess and to
of
cause
a very gyroscope
conversation and
No,
obfuscation.
actually,
No, you have no. You never offer anything of value to the conversation.
If you look at my screen,
because you don't like being informed. You don't like having your ignorance observed.
You just pretend you're clown.
No, you don't know what you're talking about, and you don't like being challenged.
Another
wrong. That's your problem.
I'm fine with being challenged.
No, you don't like it. But
okay, challenge me. Go ahead.
Well, you're wrong. I'll try and find you something.
I'm asking you for evidence of your assertion.
I have given you
that's wrong. I'm wrong to do that.
For you. They're apparently not good enough for you, so I'm going to find you an authoritative.
Provide any. You have not provided
I've provided several indications from reasonable sources. Admittedly, they're not technical drawings from the manufacturers.
I'm talking about. I'm still no. I'm saying let's go back to your first argument. I want the evidence that there's a centrifugal force acting on the Earth.
Well, at the moment, I'm worrying about the pendulous vanes.
Okay, because we've decided that we're already going to leave the centrifugal force.
Okay, we can go back to that then. I'm quite happy to do either.
I want both.
Video evidence of a gyroscope.
Huge assertion here, and you've provided absolutely zero
evidence of a gyroscope.
The body of science,
black and white video.
Scientific observation. Wait a second. What's the difference between scientific observations and just plain old everyday observations? Goggles?
You stupid comment as usual.
Right? Goggles? Does that make the difference?
No, you never make any sensible comments.
Sorry, has anybody got an answer to that question? So what's the difference between a plain old everyday observation and a scientific observation? Does anybody actually know the answer to this question, or are we just going to leave it out there hanging? So what's the difference?
Sorry, we missed that. What's the question again?
What's the difference between a regular, everyday observation and a scientific observation?
By being done by somebody who's competent and is prepared to put figures to things, I think would be.
So you think mathematics and competence is the measure for scientific observations? Competence and mathematics, that's what you think?
I think
no. Scientific observations are done under controlled conditions.
Oh, looks like Brenda's gone and looked up the scientific method at last.
It's not.
No, I haven't. I don't have that open at all. I'm doing something else.
No, I told you to. Good girl.
Shows where Ranty and Riley went on about anything but the scientific method. Why is it now the case that we need the scientific method?
Because we have had 2,000 years of an acceptance of a religion, Tim. 2,000 years with, according to Rumpus, the entire body of a particular group of people backing this assertion. And that group of people, according to Rumpus, is called science. So, when we ask for your proof of the spinning ball religion, it's quite simply because you've had 2,000 years to get some, mate.
Just reflects reality.
I haven't been alive for 2,000 years, so it's
Tim.
It's a stupid argument.
Hey Tim, is there any evidence of a centrifugal force acting on the Earth?
Of another type of gyroscope system from the Sperry. I have video proof.
It's just a
I have
mishmash
description
of everyone talking.
with
so
serial
grab
number and
some
everything that was used in the 1950s, and it's not the modernized system. It's very different. I have video proof. So I would love to present.
They use the system I described in the 50s. They've got nowadays. They don't use this. They've got
1950 design.
More complicated. They've got ring laser gyros and all sorts of other clever things. So recently they've used a more complicated. The system I'm describing with pendulous vanes, that is old-fashioned and came from the 40s and 50s or so.
So Rumpus, are you basically admitting that there's no evidence of centrifugal?
So you're screen sharing at the moment, Arwin. I don't know if you want to actually get your point across. Hopefully they'll let you.
One?
Go ahead, Arwin.
Right. Well, this is just a generalized. This is not what I actually wanted to show. Hold on. To show the video.
Yeah, this has got nothing to do with an aeroplane gyroscope, though, has it? This is the one
I know.
Hold on. So this is irrelevant. So it's absolutely irrelevant what you're showing. This is describing exactly what I said. That in a laboratory, if you align a gyroscope, and then you move it, it will do this. But in an aeroplane, they've got these pendulous vanes in a gyroscope to align it to the vertical.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't align it to the vertical.
What do you think those little things? Why do you think they go on about them? And why do you think there's such a complicated mechanism to align them, the little vanes, to hang down to the vertical rather than just doing what you?
That's not what they do.
They do. If they would have to do what you do, they just make holes in the bottom to allow the air to escape. So you're completely
no.
Oh, God.
It's to prevent it's because when the thing is tilted over, then the amount of air that's venting is not equal, is not symmetrical on both sides. So the little vein flows to keep the air flow symmetrical, so that the thing is being driven properly. That's what they do.
Holes in the bottom, it would come out symmetrically.
What?
If you had a hole like a sieve at the bottom, the air would come out symmetrically.
No, because no. Because
the angle is not going to change how symmetrically the air comes out of holes, is it? What you're saying is that basically, if you turn your vacuum cleaner or something on its or something's blowing out air, it's not going to come out symmetrically.
No, you're wrong. That's how it works. I'm talking.
Oh, God. Okay, well, I'll try and find your technical drawing of a gyroscope to prove.
Okay, go ahead. You do that, Rumpus, and we'll have Arwin just for a couple of minutes while you go and look that up. So, Arwin, do you want to go ahead?
Read out the gyro compass Sperry MKE XYV, or number 14, electrically driven gyroscope used to indicate the direction of a heading of a strip with respect to the true north. A repeater compass and chart included. Sperry Gyroscope Company Ltd, Middlesex, England, 1950. Serial number 14857. And this, in the video, you actually see what they even assemble it, I think.
That's right.
You see the parts, the gyroscope, it does not have your vanes.
You know, it has a
It's not
different
part
system
of
for
it.
aligning
And
itself.
they use
Why am I
this.
hearing
They
Rumpus's
use
voice?
this
Hold on a
in
second, Darwin.
ships.
Why can I hear Rumpus's voice? I can't hear what you're saying because Rumpus is interrupting you.
Okay,
Of course.
carry on.
Go ahead, Darwin.
Well, in this video, look, this is an old-fashioned gyroscope from the 50s. They use this in ships all over the world. It's a reliable model. It does not have the update to account for gravity. Clearly does not. So this is just the old system. This is what they used. And there's no mention of any accounting for gravity. It's not even mentioned. It's just not there. See?
There's no accounting of this gravity mentioned in any technical description of any aircraft gyroscope. And hey, you guys say we won't accept any evidence. You have not provided any.
I provided diagrams that have come from technical drawings of things.
Just say it for about the 5th time this show. The diagrams are not evidence, right? Rumpus, how many times have we got to say the same thing to you? Just asserting the same shit over and over again doesn't prove anything.
I have shown diagrams.
So you're just going to literally assert it for a 6th time? Unbelievable, man. You are clearly retarded. It's just beyond belief. Anyway, how you doing, No Globe Zone? Good to have you here, my friend.
Rumpus, let me ask you, do you think that your diagram presupposes that the Earth is a globe already?
No, it just points to the gravity down. It's got nothing to do with the
Oh, so this doesn't presuppose that we're already on a globe.
The physics in there just point down. That's all it tries to do.
No, you're an idiot.
How it's used to correct for. I mean, I don't know what on a flat.
So you're just assuming that we're on a globe, assuming there's a centrifugal force, and then making a diagram. That's what you're doing here. You're just masturbating your theory. Listen, I'm asking you for what's the evidence that there's a centrifugal force acting on the Earth?
We have measured things at the poles and the equator. We know they're different. We also know the Eötvös effect also accounts for this as well.
Rumpus, listen.
We know this.
We know that you know the claim of centrifuge on the Earth. We know that the densest layer of air sits on the ground where we walk. Where you put your feet is where the most dense layer of air is.
Correct.
If there was a centrifugal force, that densest layer of air would not sit on the surface of the Earth. It would.
Look at my diagram, Anthony. I showed you this.
Because of the effects of centrifuge, that density of air would have been displaced.
No,
and it would sit above. Wait, let me get my words out.
I know what you're saying. I understand exactly the point you're making.
Yeah, but
right, you're not the only person here, Rumpus. For God's sake, man. You're not the centre of the universe. Do you get it? There's an audience. There's 150 odd people watching. Just because you might understand what's going to come out of his mouth next. Keep your mouth shut.
So just let me finish, and then
for the 10th time.
If the Earth was rotating and creating a centrifugal force, the densest layer of air would not sit on the surface of the Earth. Because of displacement, it would displace the lighter air above it, and we would be sat in a lighter layer of air, and the denser layer of air would be somewhere above our head, and that would be governed by the centrifugal spin of the Earth. Why do we not see that?
Okay, I will explain. If you can see my diagram here, I explained to you earlier that all the objects, including air molecules, are subject to 2 forces at the surface of the Earth. One of them is gravity, one of them is a centrifugal force. What you do is you add them together, as in this diagram that I showed you earlier, and that is the net force on things. And you'll see that the net force, because the gravitational force is so much greater, is towards the center of the Earth. You add the 2 forces together, Anthony. Why can't you understand you do this? You add the 2 forces together, and it's the net force that acts on the air.
I understand.
Right, so why are you asking such a silly question then?
Because there is no evidence that supports the centrifuge of the Earth.
There is.
In the density of our atmosphere, and we do not see it.
The map's great if you live in a ball.
Pardon?
The map's great if you live in a ball.
But do you understand, Anthony, that we've got 2 forces acting on molecules and the air and everything, and if there's a big one and a small one, and the big one is going to dominate, as in on my diagram, the big pink arrow.
You said that. It was 0.03% of the
0.3%. So it's irrelevant to the gravity. It's not going to change the gravity effect. The net force is going to be dominated by the gravitational effect.
Right, and then when we look at the definition of gravity, it describes it as effectively weight.
Yes,
Correct.
that's right, indeed. And do you understand this formula, which I'm about to write out here? Damn it. Is F is equal to mg. This is the definition of weight. And this is something that confuses you enormously. This is the definition of weight I've got here. Do you see that? That F, and that is equal to the force is equal to the weight. That's the definition of gravity. It's a force. We call the force its weight, and that's equal to the mass times g. So weight is equal to force. So when you said earlier that weight is not equal to force, or when someone confused you and said, "Oh, is that weight?" No, it's not force. It's a weight. Force and weight are the same thing in this context of weight.
All right, Nathan, would you mind sharing my screen, please?
Yeah, you are.
Right, and in the page on the gravity Wikipedia page, it describes this force that we're talking about that is effectively weight. And I'm going to cite your maths from where you got this from. Okay. Bear with me while I find it, because it's in here somewhere. Better be on here. Okay. It's on the page before. Bear with me.
Anthony.
I am. I'm just trying not to get
Jacob,
brushed off.
Can you say hello, Jacob Walters? Hello.
Yes.
Good to have you.
Sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Sorry, Jacob. Next time.
It's because they normally join while I'm screen sharing, so they literally I've got to try and keep my eye on the side chat as well as watch what's going on in the side chat.
Can't someone else do that for you?
Well, Arwin's trying to, but
let's try and keep on track. Anyway, back to.
I'm in Skype, so
don't worry. Let's not discuss this. Let's just carry on with Newton and Wikipedia.
Yeah, I want to read. Just bear with me a sec.
Yeah, we bear with you.
While I find the citation for where that was. Right, what page am I on here? Give me a sec.
Okay, what I'll do a quick thing about, just to make absolutely sure, what you just kind of in the background, Anthony, that people understand that when we talk about the force of gravity, that's exactly the same thing as its weight. Weight is a force, and it's equal to the product of the mass of the object you've got and little g.
The scientific community does not follow any force of gravity. They follow, guess who? Einstein. Einsteinian gravity is not a force.
Yeah, but it manifests itself as what's called a fictitious force. Just like you feel the force when a car goes round in a bend, you feel the centrifugal force. Although it's a fictitious force,
it's not fictitious science acumen.
Although it's a fictitious force,
this is the Earth,
accelerate things, and
the moon, and this is the sun.
Although Einstein indeed gravity is a fictitious force, we can still
gravity is not a force with Einstein.
Measure it.
You hold on. I'm tired of listening to you and your nonsense.
Right,
go get an Adderall drip.
John, you interrupt me.
Go get an Adderall drip.
John, you're going to turn
right, and go to your children's fiction author.
You got to turn a second. You got to turn a second. Right, so when you go in a car, that is
we're tired of listening to you.
You're subjected to, and
we're tired of listening to your nonsense.
When he says weight,
go make a scientific observation with goggles.
But none
of the diagrams are pretty cool.
With an Adderall drip.
So there you go, John. Now you have a go.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, you done? Go get the evidence. Go get the Adderall drip. We'll see you later.
Do what?
Thank you.
That's one.
Still waiting for your evidence, Rumpus. Still waiting.
You're in denial of science, I'm afraid, John.
We're gonna see that here in a few minutes.
Denier.
Pseudoscience denier. Get it straight.
Tell me, John, what are you capable of doing any mathematics?
Mathematics is not science, Rumpus. Go find a math forum. We're talking about science here.
We'll take from that you can't do it, and that's why you're fundamentally ignorant. You couldn't do any of these equations I'm presenting on screen here with the centrifugal.
It's not a math forum.
Who cares?
What it is.
Discussion.
You can't.
Math is not physics.
Go on,
math is not science.
Come on, John.
Rumpus, he proved God the other day.
You can't do maths, can you, John? Admit
That's correct. That's correct.
Rumpus, is there any evidence of the centrifugal force acting on the Earth?
Oh, yes, God. I described to you how things change.
Yeah, we've asked you several times for the evidence, Rumpus, and you just keep obfuscating and claiming the same thing over and over again, that you've showed us diagrams. So is there ever going to reach a point? Are you just going to obfuscate for this entire 2 hours while we don't get any evidence of this from you?
That was a scientific experiment.
Science doesn't have a body, Rumpus. Science is a method. That's a reification fallacy.
Science uses a method, John. This is another thing you're confused about. Science uses
science uses, huh? Show us. Let's see the picture. Let's see science using.
I don't have a picture of the 1 + 1 = 2 anywhere either.
That's
Yeah, well, that's
mathematics.
a fairy tale math. Why don't you
right,
show
so
us
there
a
we go.
natural
Rumpus,
observation?
your entire body of science does
Give
not
us
support
great.
your side
Let's
of the
observe a
argument.
phenomenon,
Good
right?
stuff.
There is
You're on the
proof
case,
observe
to
sir.
the
some
contrary
1 +
that the
1
some
Earth is
five.
not
Fairy tale math.
spinning,
I
In
like
the
it.
natural
and the
world.
old
John,
gyroscopes
Show some
used
five.
in
What an idiot
engineering.
you are.
Hold on,
Yeah,
let's
we're
get
gonna
it
see how
controlled.
much-
Hold on. We've got
Gravity
4
accounted.
people
God, these
talking.
avatars.
One at a time.
No, I would like to see the experimental evidence that there's a centrifugal force acting on the Earth. Seems
X-force
simple
effect.
enough.
Okay, the
Okay,
X-force
show me
experiment.
the experiment that demonstrates that there's a centrifugal force acting on the Earth. The real experiment.
Well, there are loads of them.
Okay, show me. And
Okay,
explain
well, it's
to me
very
how
difficult
this
to find- it's very
experimentally
difficult to find
demonstrates
these things.
this force.
Hey, Rumpus, Rumpus,
Hey,
these FE guys are quite demanding, aren't they?
They are, Alan. They are.
Yeah, amazing. We want proof that we live on a spinning ball rather than just accepting it on belief. No, we would rather prefer not to have your religion forced upon us. Yeah, we'd rather you
religion.
proved it
Religion.
rather than just
You accept the flat
asserting
Earth
it.
unbelief.
Science is not a religion, Nathan.
Yeah, scientism, your
Scientism.
version of heliocentrism, they are
I'm not-
religions.
Heliocentrism
It's based
is
on
not
belief.
scientism.
Yeah, that's why we're
You
asking
don't-
you for evidence, Brenda.
Do you know what scientism means?
We are asking for evidence. Let's not get sidetracked. We've asked Rumpus to
we don't
prove
know what
something
scientism
using
even means.
scientific evidence. So let's see how he gets on.
Yeah.
So far, he's managed to chew out about an hour and a half.
Well, I have to kind of agree that Rumpus interrupts everybody and complains about being interrupted and talks all the time and never lets anybody else talk. I have to agree with that.
Okay, well, good
But
for
that
you.
doesn't change the central facts about what science is, what it is not, and the fact that we can treat gravity as a force, even though we know since Einstein
That's not a force.
it's yes, I know. I
It is.
understand that.
It
It
doesn't
is
even
kind of a
exist, but
force.
we'll get
We
to
just
that.
don't
We can
know
treat
the
it
origin
as
of
a
it.
force because
Sure, you could treat it as a farce.
Yes,
we'll treat
we
it.
can,
We'll treat it
because-
as a farce.
No,
Okay.
physicists found that when they treat it as a force, that it doesn't work out in their model. That's why they call it a non-force. There's a
No,
reason.
it works fine. It works fine for
No, it
most
doesn't.
applications. Yes, it
No,
does.
What works?
gravity is a force, but it is just in one direction, and there's no proof of gravitational pull. There's no proof that it all points to a center point. That's
But
the
there's
whole
no
point
proofs.
of it.
There's no proofs in science. Science doesn't work by
What?
proofs.
Get out of here.
There we go.
Go
Science
back
again.
and watch
doesn't
the
work by
previous
proof.
videos. I already showed
No,
it.
Science doesn't
forces
work
have to
by
follow.
proof.
Then
No,
why
force
do
has-
science? If
Forces
it
have
doesn't
to-
prove anything or no evidence for it, then why do we do it?
Proof and
Because
evidence are
science
two different
works.
things.
Because it
Shits and
works.
giggles.
Yeah, it does.
This is ridiculous,
Well,
man.
there's neither proof
Keep
nor
Science
talking.
works,
evidence
you
of the
just can't
centrifugal
use
force
to
acting
prove
on the
anything.
Earth.
Well,
That's
there's plenty of
Cool,
evidence.
the
There's
Earth
no
is still a
proof.
sphere.
Oh, evidence and proof again, right?
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
you've
Well,
been
have
wrong about
Hey,
that.
Nathan.
actually.
Hey, Nathan.
Yeah, okay. Prove me wrong.
John,
Not you.
Nathan.
proof is a mathematical
Hey, Nathan.
concept, and you
You don't
yourself,
know
Nathan.
the body of
you
science.
yourself, John,
Hey,
you.
Is Nathan around?
No, he's not. John,
Nathan,
Nathan isn't
you
around. He's doing
can you
something
share
else.
my screen? I want to do a small presentation uninterrupted, please. Just 5
Yeah,
minutes,
sure,
and
no
then
problem.
you guys can go on.
You're on.
You're gonna have to wait
Hold on.
for Nathan to come back. I think he's.
I was here. I was just
here.
waiting for the
Yeah,
interruptions to
that's
all settle down, so you're all nice and calm.
Yeah, Quantum, make sure to have Yosemite Sam. and
Hey,
Baby
say,
Crying
please,
in this one.
uninterrupted.
Yo,
please.
Yosemite Sam.
Not this.
Yeah.
This.
Do we have? Can we have this uninterrupted, please? Just 5 minutes.
Not
I
this.
wanna-
again.
I want to do. No, it's not this again.
When do I get
want to
5
talk
minutes
about.
and
Oh my
uninterrupted?
goodness gracious!
Later. Now it's his turn. Shut up for a moment.
Yes, he's got to read his email. that
Hey,
looks like a Word
excuse me,
document.
Tim. Excuse
No,
me.
go ahead. Read your Word document.
Okay.
And send an email. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's a Word document. Wow. In fact, it's not a Word
Let's go.
document.
Let's go.
It's
Come on.
Google. Okay, one piece of old business and another piece of new business. So this is the old business. Science, the definition, the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experimentation. It says the physical and natural world please excuse me, to carefully delineate the physical and natural, light, helium, nitrogen, oxygen, lightning, tornadoes, electrons, protons, neutrons, etc., from the physical non-natural. Lawnmowers, 5-speed transmission, vacuum chambers. Goodness gracious. Now look at this. From Kennesaw State. A law describes what nature does. A theory explains how nature works. Now, are they talking about the toaster oven laws and the lawnmower theories? Right? Thanks for the laughs, folks. And one piece of new business. The physics PhD, Philip Weinberg, I think it was yesterday. We're talking about the physical sciences. The physical sciences don't care about the natural world. Well, what is physical science? This is a broad discipline concerned with natural phenomenon of the Earth, atmosphere, and space. It encompasses a variety of fields that include astronomy, chemistry, geology, physics,
say something.
atmospheric science, and oceanography. This is tantamount to the chair of neurosurgery stating that cerebellums are facultative anaerobe woodpeckers. Now, my last point. I want you to rate these statements, please, from the stupidest first. Here's the rumpus. Air is not atmosphere.
True.
Steve McCrae is true.
Yes.
Steve McCrae. Steve McClown. The speed of sound in a vacuum is constant. Or I'm sorry, the speed of sound is constant in a vacuum.
True.
And Phil Weinberg, we're talking about the physical sciences. The physical sciences don't care about the natural world.
False.
Thank you very much. 1 second, I want to confirm the Rumpus's statement. And this is you, Rumpus, right? Air is not the atmosphere.
Correct.
Does everyone see that?
The atmosphere is a collection of air.
Thank you very much.
The atmosphere is a very specific.
Air is not
the
atmosphere.
air, and we're talking about the whole body there. So, air is not
let's go over the first one.
So the air is not equal.
Let's go over Philip Weinberg's statement.
And I'm just showing you wrong.
Rumpus, he's not
You're
finished.
You're completely wrong, and I'm right. The air.
Oh,
is
and
not
you're
the
right.
Atmosphere.
Yeah, he is right.
My eggs are almost done.
Air is not atmosphere.
So you're completely wrong. So you're an idiot. Case solved.
If I put air in a jar, if I put air in a jar,
I'm the idiot.
Yeah, is that the atmosphere? Yeah.
I'm the idiot. Air is not atmosphere.
Is the air under my bed the atmosphere?
Right?
It isn't. The
It's not the atmosphere, right?
The atmosphere is a description
The
of all the
atmosphere
air
is
around the Earth. If you
I
think
can't
those two
believe
things
I'm
are the
even
same, you're a
arguing
complete
with this.
idiot.
Oh my God.
I mean, how stupid
Lewis,
can you
say
be?
something.
Okay.
You're
Thank
so
you.
stupid. It's
Have a nice day.
unbelievable.
So I'll respond to his points. I'll respond to his points.
Okay, go ahead, Brenda.
His
Please.
first point, quoting the physicist, is an appeal to authority fallacy. The second point is
which point?
Your quotation from Weinberg.
Taste your own medicine.
Appeal to authority. That's what
Yeah.
he said.
I know. That's
How's
right.
that
That's
appeal to authority?
Pointing out how
He's an
stupid it
author-
is.
Yes, it's
Are
an
you,
appeal
are you
to
This is what he
retarded, Brenda?
said.
Are you retarded?
I understand.
I'm not appealing to anything.
That's what
I'm
appeal
just
to
stating what
authority
he
is.
said.
He's not appealing to anybody. He's pointing out what he said and pointing out how unbelievably stupid it was to say it. He's not appealing to Philip. It's just, what are you talking about? This is complete horseshit. You guys are idiots.
He's an authority on the subject.
That's right. So it's not an appeal to authority. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a quote. I just quoted him.
It's just a quote.
Oh
It's,
my
it's
God.
appeal to authority.
my goodness.
Just
No,
a
he's
quote.
not saying that that's
Authority.
no. An appeal to an authority is when you say I'm right because an authority said so.
The whole
Yeah,
body.
that's what he
fine.
did.
No, that's not
exactly
correct.
what he
That's
did.
That's not correct.
No,
That's
that is
exactly
correct.
what he
That's
did.
I don't
not
like
correct.
this.
Peter.
They
I'm right.
changed.
1914.
Brenda
That
doesn't
is
go on
correct.
appeal to
Sorry.
authority.
That new definition that they've changed
No.
the fallacy to
That's not
about
it. The
keeping-
fallacy-
No,
no.
it's crap. That's
Appeal
sorry.
to authority. Listen, appeal to authority is appealing to an authority that is not an expert on the subject. Go look
No.
it up.
I know they changed it to
No,
that.
not you, nummy num.
No,
You're
I'm
talking
saying
about the
I don't agree with that because they
Okay,
changed.
okay, I know you don't agree with definitions. I got it.
Even if he's
But
an
let's get
expert
back with Brenda.
Even if he's an expert
Oh
in
my
the
God,
field,
guys.
appealing to a single
I'm
physicist.
not appealing to him.
Yes, you are.
I'm just stating what he said. I'm not appealing. I don't have an argument
Yes,
yet.
but yes,
Brenda
you do.
doesn't know what an appeal.
No, I
to,
don't.
You have an argument that the
Brenda
natural
doesn't know what an
sciences.
appeal to authority is.
Nope, she doesn't. Or he.
So the second.
I'm appealing my eggs.
Hey,
That's too much.
Too much racket. Come on, guys.
Okay, and
Okay,
so Rumpus has explained why air is not necessarily atmosphere.
Oh, really? He explained it, right?
Yes, he did.
Please explain it again, like in English.
I have a bottle next to me with air in it, and that air is not the atmosphere.
It's still in the atmosphere. The atmosphere is everywhere around us.
Same as
moron.
It's in the bottle.
Air is not atmosphere. Not putting air inside a container and then saying it's not atmosphere.
The air is in a bottle.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
How do you not understand that atmosphere?
How do I not understand this?
Atmosphere is composed of air. That does not mean.
Are you a moron?
I mean, this is so simple. A 12-year-old can understand.
Yeah, I know. People are laughing at you, man.
Okay, then the third one.
No, the second one. Let's go to the second one.
The second one, Steve McCrae's statement that the speed of sound is constant in a vacuum is true. It's 0.
Yeah, it's 0, right?
Yeah, that's
that's constant.
Is that constant, John?
Yeah, 0 is a constant.
It is a constant.
Your IQ.
You're wrong then. Right.
Your IQ and your science acumen.
Well, that's just an
it's
ad
0.
hom.
So that's a constant.
That's just an ad hom. The point is that the speed of sound in a vacuum is 0.
Yeah. It's constant.
Yeah,
0.
so he was right.
No,
so you
it's
agree
not
with
0.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's not there.
Yes, thank you. So you agree.
There is
you
no
agree with
speed,
Steve McCrae.
which means
You
it's
agree
not
with him,
0.
right?
There is nothing.
Right. I do. I agree with him. That's what
There
he
is
totally
no
meant.
speed present because it's not traveling there. It's not.
What does any of this
not,
have to do with the shape of the Earth? Sorry, I just
absolutely nothing.
Yeah, he never contributes anything.
Because there's an assumed radius with these equations that Rumpus has been presenting. I keep asking him where he got R from. So what does it have to do with the shape of the Earth? Well, it's based on the calculations of a radius. Did you not know that?
Well, we can measure.
I just got here, Nathan. Why don't you calm down?
I'm perfectly calm. I'll say it really slowly because Lewis is a complete retard. The mathematics are based on assumptions, and those assumptions are based on a radius. Do you understand that now? You complete
I understood that before. I understood that before. I didn't realize that's what we were talking about.
Do I need to say it even more calmly for the complete idiot known as
You don't
Lewis
sound
Hackett?
calm. You sound like you're simmering.
I sound like I'm perfectly calm and calling you a retard.
Well, you know, the more you do it, you know, the calmer you'll get.
So, it's jolly good. So, do you now have your answer? You asked, what does this have to do with the shape of the Earth? Because you are a retard. Now I've answered you, Lewis. So, are you satisfied with the answer?
Well, I didn't realize we were talking about Rumpus's math, because...
Well, then try to pay attention, you complete retard. Don't come in and ask why we're talking about this when you haven't been paying attention. It makes you look very stupid.
Well, I was paying attention to the part I got in here.
Yeah, well, don't just to pay attention to the selective parts. Pay attention to all of it. When you ask questions about why has this got anything to do with the shape of the Earth, and you haven't been paying attention, it makes you look very, very stupid.
Right, so can we go back to the radius?
Yeah, let's move on to the radius.
Let's move on from Lewis and his stupidity. Move on fast, Lewis. Yeah, better get past this stupidity quick.
Right, let's go back to the radius.
I mean, why wouldn't I want to do that? You know, you're just calling me a retard over and over.
I'll say it again. So, Lewis asked, what has this got to do with the shape of the Earth? And I've just told him that it has everything to do with the shape of the Earth. The reason he is asked is simple. It is because he is retarded.
That's just an add-on.
All right.
No,
I mean,
it's a retarded question.
If that were true, why would you say it?
I didn't say it. You came in and asked what this had to do with the shape of the Earth, Lewis.
No. If I were retarded, why would you get so much joy out of saying it over and over? And why would you do it over and over?
Why would you ask such a stupid question? Otherwise, I would have no necessity to point out how retarded you are for asking it.
Well, if it were true, you wouldn't have to point it out, would you?
If what were true, that this has everything to do with the shape of the Earth.
I think it gives him the horn.
It doesn't give me the horn. It just makes me smile that someone could be this stupid.
Let's talk about math, all right? And
let's quickly change the subject. Yeah, moving on from Louis' stupidity. Yeah, we better move on quick, Philip? Let's not keep calling him Philip. Better not hang on to this point too long, Louis? right? Because you're looking really stupid. You've asked a really dumb question. So I'll labour this point a little bit longer. How stupid you look.
Okay.
Share your great wisdom with us, Lewis. Your
So
genius.
about that radius, Rumpus.
What about it?
Well, yeah.
How do we have to
Rumpus,
think-
are you
Hold on,
going?
let Lewis wants to make a point. Yeah, go ahead, Lewis. Whatever it is.
I think the fact that the horizon exists is evidence of curvature.
All right, so you've just ignored what Anthony Riley's just said. He said about that radius, the dumbass point that I've just pointed out to you, how this has to do with the shape of the Earth. So don't come on, Mike, and then change the subject, you dumbass. He's just asked you about that radius. The thing we were talking about, the subject matter in hand, the thing that has to do with the shape of the Earth, you retard. So let's not avoid that point, Lewis. Please, can you address his question? He's asking about an assumption, the radius of the Earth. So, about that radius.
Nathan, you are being incredibly dishonest if you think that when I...
You sound very angry. What's wrong, Lewis? You seem to have an elevated sound to your voice. Why are you so triggered? You need to calm down, mate.
Because there's limited time.
Try and get
there's
a
limited
hold.
time available
Try and
on
take
the
a
show,
breath.
and you're taking
Try
all
and
of the
take
time.
a little breath.
Simply
Maybe
insult.
calm down a little.
So I am taking
Calm
offense
down,
to that.
Lewis. You're very
I'm
triggered.
just pointing out.
Clearly,
I'm pointing
very
out.
angry because you've shown the audience just how dumb you really are. So, let's try and keep on track. Let's try and get back to the question that Anthony Riley asked about that radius. About that radius.
Lewis was speaking before Anthony asked that question.
About that radius, Rumpus.
Okay, but I just Lewis was actually
About that
before
radius.
you asked me that.
About that
You
radius.
asked me to give, my points, which
No, I
you know,
didn't. No, I didn't ask you to give you my points. That's not what I asked at all. I'll say what I'm asking again in a different phraseology. We would like you to tell us how you come to this assumption of the radius. That's what we'd like to know. See if you can do it calmly. Try and keep calm while you do it, Lewis.
Yeah. I'll do my best. I'll do my best, Nathan. Just
losers whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
And fuck
so
the
don't
prom
whine
queen.
about
Yep,
your
that's
best,
right.
my friend. Don't whine about your best to me.
Well, I'll give you my best.
No, losers whine about their best.
You'll give me your worst. I'll give you my best.
Losers whine about their best.
Okay. All right. So, are we talking about the shape of the Earth, or
are you this retarded? Are you really this stupid? You've come in and asked, what does this have to do with the shape of the Earth? And I've told you. I've told you specifically about the radius. Specifically. Right? You really are stupid. How much humiliation do you need before you actually get to answer the question?
Well, you haven't actually humiliated me, Nathan.
Yeah, you're doing that by yourself. You are quite literally humiliating yourself right now, Lewis. It's amusing. I'm surprised the super chats haven't started flying in.
Why don't you let Lewis make his point?
That's the only reason you yell is because you know that people like it, all right? So
there we go. That's the whole point.
Yep. Why? I mean, you don't. You're
stuttering. Wow, it's 3 for 3. We've had Brenda stuttering like a moron. We've had Rumpus stuttering like a moron, and now we've got Lewis stuttering like a moron.
You're being an obnoxious twat, Nathan.
Stuttering idiots, all of you. All of you.
You have to
are
walk a very
stuttering
fine
idiots.
line to get people to super chat to you.
I'm abusing the Glober. Where's my super chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. Hey,
It's nice now, eh? Tables have turned, eh?
They will.
Yeah,
they
tables
will
have turned, haven't they,
They'll do
Brenda?
it.
It's amusing, isn't it, how science has undone the globe. How you call us religious and yet you are part of a religion. How you call us science deniers and yet the Achilles heel of the globe
yeah, I am part
is
of
science.
religion. I'm part of the Church of Helios, and I am the first prophet.
I realise. Thanks. Good that you can
All
admit
hail
it.
Louis.
Wow. Thank you. Not hail Louis. Louis is a retard.
Yes,
no one's
hail
hailing
Louis. I am the preacher.
No, you are a retard. Let's get it clear. No one's hailing Louis. They're just laughing at you for being a retard. That's what's actually happening, Lewis. People are laughing at you because, as you pointed out, you are indeed humiliating yourself. That's what's actually happening here. You don't have to like it. The audience will like it. They'll lap it up, mate. But yes, you are indeed a retard. You are indeed humiliating yourself, and you have not yet addressed the question of this radius that Anthony asked.
Well, what was this question? I couldn't hear it over all of your shouting.
Well, I think
my shouting.
I think
shouting, Lewis.
Whisper
That's your imagination.
We've got a bit of a problem. We don't know the radius. You just assume it. What's the question? What is that question?
I think the rumpus was about to tell us
with get yourself a theodolite, and you could go and measure it yourself.
No, we've got an apparent horizon. That's been proven over and over again by Anthony Riley. You just going in the circle jerk, rinse and repeat mode, just asserting the same old shite over and over again, and ignoring the fact that it's been debunked. That's pathetic. It's sad. But yes, it has indeed been debunked by Anthony Riley on multiple occasions.
Anthony Riley is trying to speak.
Nathan, can you share my screen, please? Let me address this radius point with Rumpus before we run out of time.
Yeah, sure.
Let me know when we're good.
Yep, you're on.
Rumpus, can you see this picture?
Hold on, let me just click on your thingy.
Oh, I just hear mumbling from Rumpus. Mumble.
You're not
Yep.
You're not part of a video. I'm about to play the play button. If you were to point your theodolite at the horizon and observe the apparent horizon and claim that this is a little bit of a dip, watch what happens on this occasion. Where's the horizon?
Yes, Anthony, I've explained this I don't know how many times. You pick conditions.
Where's the horizon?
Hold on. Let me respond. You pick conditions whether or not turbulent or very steep temperature.
It's as simple as going to the beach with a theodolite for £25, and then when put on the spot, I will tell you about all the other criteria that you need to meet. Right, Rumpus?
Right, you've got my speak. So, Anthony, you might as well be asking me.
Might as well be asking if it's as simple as going to the beach with a theodolite for £25. And unfortunately, Rumpus, as shown on screen, we have an apparent horizon. As stated, debunked thoroughly by Anthony Riley, conceded by Rumpus on video that we have an apparent horizon. So you can't go to the beach with a theodolite.
Let them say everything that they're going to say. Let them say it, okay?
Sorry, Lewis, do you mind?
I'm not being able to give an answer at the moment.
Well, you've talked for almost non-stop this entire show, so let's not moan too much, Rumpus. Even Brenda admits that you can't keep your mouth shut. Let's be honest here.
I'm being asked a question and not being allowed to give an answer. Right. You do not pick...
I'm asserting it. No, I'm not asking. I'm telling the audience right now. This is totally and utterly been debunked. You cannot go to the beach with a theodolite and measure the horizon. It is complete nonsense because we have an apparent horizon, as demonstrated with physical evidence, something that Rumpus has failed to produce at all on this show at any stage. We've just had it up on screen. He started mumbling and adding a whole load of new criteria because, I'll say it again, it's been debunked completely.
I mean, I think it's okay to call him a twat all the time. All right. So the point is, Anthony could have presented me a picture with 4 minutes and then say, "Where's?"
How dare you cheeky little twat! Get out.
All right.
Thank you, Nathan. Jeez.
Thank you.
And everybody can breathe.
How much time do we have left?
I don't know. It feels like forever now that he's gone.
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh. That guy is sucking all the air out of the room here from England.
That he sucked out of the room could be our pendulous Dane.
It says that we've been going for 2 hours, so there can't be that much time left. So do we want to labor some different points now that, you know, the radius thing is clearly not the subject of conversation?
No,
Lewis, can you provide evidence of the centrifugal force acting on the Earth?
I have evidence against it, and that's
the scientific kind.
I can postulate a way
actual
that
engineering
you could
and video proof of that mechanism. I demonstrated it
postulate
earlier.
a way that
show.
you could.
It was pretty solid.
Yeah, all I can do for you is postulate a way that it could be done. But no, I can't. I couldn't do that for you here on this Google Hangout. No.
Okay, well, can you tell me how one would go about doing that?
You take 100-pound weight down to the equator and weigh it. And then you take the set of scales and the 100-pound weight that you weighed at the equator with up to the pole, whichever pole, the South or North Pole, and you'd weigh it there, and there would be a difference of approximately 6 pounds, I think.
So would you describe that as an experiment?
Well, that just demonstrates the difference.
But does it demonstrate the cause of the difference? If you could in fact do this, because I, as far as I know, I I have no reason to think anyone had actually done that, but I'm saying that how does that demonstrate the centrifugal force acting on the Earth anyway?
Exactly. Experiment.
Well,
please.
There's no independent variable.
That's right.
All we have are the There
all
is
you have
actually.
is fairy tale stories. That's all you got.
The independent variable is the weight difference.
The weight
no, it
difference.
isn't.
Yeah, it is. So you're
so the weight difference is your cause.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you don't know what you're
that.
talking about. Dude.
Why is this how you normally have conversations?
Well,
yeah,
you
don't have any clue of what you're talking about.
Right, so just ascertain that.
Well,
I do.
When we talk,
let's ascertain what Louis knows.
This is the way we talk.
Is this how you normally?
This is how we normally have conversation here on the.
I haven't been able. You're not letting me really say anything.
Maybe you can clarify your understanding.
Share your screen and post the phenomena observed. Then your alternative hypothesis.
What did I just? Okay.
Then your independent and dependent variable and your null hypothesis. That's too easy.
Of the things that I did actually say, one of them was that I would be unable to do that for you.
How about somebody else that has already done it? You're just claiming it.
Yeah, Lewis, didn't I say okay?
I don't think that there are videos of people doing this, and I'm not going to labor finding them for you.
Okay, that's fine. Wait a second, Nummy. Do you
I'm just telling you like what you could do to demonstrate it.
That's fine. We don't know. We don't want to know what we could do. We're asking you to support your scientific evidence of your spinning ball religion. So any point that you have, bring it up.
I got a little point to make, and that is that if what Lewis just said is correct, that there would be a measurable weight difference, then that would have all kinds of implications. Also, engineering implications, including that planes, when flying over the equator in whatever direction, would actually spend significantly less fuel than if they were more to the north or to the south. Is that really
that
what
that would actually be the other way
happen?
around, and it wouldn't be that significant of
No.
fuel
Oh no,
differences.
really?
No, but
6%?
I want to just stick
6% is
to the
not
point here,
significant?
just like that's not what you've proposed as a evidence of the centrifugal force on Earth is not an experiment that demonstrates the centrifugal force on Earth.
Well, it demonstrates that there is a difference in the force. It demonstrates a difference in the balance of forces that are pulling things down.
But it does not demonstrate a cause.
No,
So,
right. It
you
does
know
not.
what?
It does
I
not demonstrate a
actually
cause.
kind of
No.
Okay,
That
so
is
you
even
just
is
that is
true.
just
I
a
really,
does
really
fit
doubt it.
with no
But
evidence.
if I ever go travel around the
Well, I'm just being intellectually honest about this with you.
Okay, that's fine.
Appreciate it. That's
do you
great.
Do you have anything else besides the centrifugal force that we've been talking about the whole time that nobody has? Do you have something
sunsets
scientific evidence to support your spinning ball religion?
Sunsets.
Okay.
Excellent.
Natural phenomena observed. You observed the sunset. What's your hypothesis?
That the Earth is round.
That's not a hypothesis. That's a philosophical statement.
No, let's
try again.
It's a hypothesis.
No. What does a hypothesis have to have?
Boring.
Well, it has to be testable.
A scientific hypothesis is based on cause and effect reasoning from Cambridge University. A scientific hypothesis does not merely state X and Y may be related, but explains why they are related.
All right. Let me try again. I hypothesize that the sun disappearing beneath the horizon from bottom to top is caused by the rotation of a round Earth.
Okay, so your independent variable is the rotation of the round Earth. Independent variables must be able to be varied and manipulated. Can you vary and manipulate the spinning ball Earth?
Take your time.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Independent variables they require two criterion to satisfy. They're your presumed cause, and you must vary and manipulate them in your experiment to isolate them and make sure it's the cause of your effect. Do you understand that now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you could change your elevation, for example.
Okay, could you share his screen and have him write these out for us so we could see them?
Yeah, sure. Let's get Louis to write down the independent and dependent variable in this sunset test. Your screen's shared. Let's see you write them down, Louis.
So the phenomena? No. Why not?
No.
I'm not going to do anything for you other than use my words.
So you're not going to write this out for us for everyone to see and to evaluate.
Oh, it's really simple.
You know what I just realized?
Yeah.
You know, it's really
Yeah, it's
funny
simple.
because
Yeah.
if the weight would actually differ 6% at the equator as in the north, it would be a good place to buy up gold at the equator and then sell it to the north because you'd get 6% more.
Hold on. I would say the independent variable for me is that the sun is disappearing beneath the horizon.
But you have to be able to vary and manipulate physically. You, the researcher, can you physically vary and manipulate the sun?
No.
Then it's not an independent variable.
But it is disappearing beneath the horizon.
It is, but what? We want to know why, the cause of that.
Because the Earth is spinning and it's round.
But you're just stating that. You know what it is? It's an affirming.
Well, that's the hypothesis.
It's
That
an
is
affirming.
the hypothesis.
It's an affirming the consequent formological fallacy. If P, then Q.
No,
Q,
it's the
therefore
hypothesis.
P.
It's the literal hypothesis that I
No, it isn't. No,
you're making
a
a circular
retard.
argument. It's true. You're wrong.
You're a retard.
It's an affirming the consequent formological fallacy.
You're definitely affirming the consequent. I mean, if you can't see that, you need to
I'm just telling you,
look at what you're saying.
For a hypothesis, and you know, the sun disappears behind the horizon because the
Why?
Earth is round and spinning.
So you're saying the
Cause
cause
and
is the
effect.
Earth is round and spinning. That's your independent variable. It's your presumed cause, and you must vary and manipulate it during an experiment. Can you vary and manipulate the spinning ball Earth?
Well, we haven't come up with, you know,
Yes or
any
no
research to do
Check
after
one,
making
or
this.
no? Can
Hey,
you
what's up,
vary
Lisa?
the spin
So,
of
Louis-
the Earth?
Lewis,
The
you're not
next-
doing- the point is
the
you're not
next
doing
step,
you're not-
right?
No,
The
Lewis. The point is you're not
All
doing
right,
a
jeez.
test. You're not performing.
Right.
a-
I was just
You're
about to say that.
affirming
We have.
your model.
I know. The hypothesis is the first step, guys. We haven't
Okay,
even
but
gotten to.
No, it's not the first step. Observing a phenomenon is the first step. You managed that. You observed that the sun sets. So well done. Step 1 achieved. Step 2, you haven't managed at all. Your hypothesis is garbage. It's utter crap.
No. Step 2 is do a bunch of research, and then step 3 is form an experiment.
No, formulate a hypothesis. Step 3.
Yeah, step 4 is an experiment. So, yes,
Hey,
you can include literature review if you want to be pedantic. I tried that trick on Brenda, and she fell for it hook, line, and sinker. However, step 2, yeah, literature review if you want. However, you've still got step 3, which is formulate a hypothesis, which establishes, establishes your cause and effect relationship. The cause being the independent variable, the effect being the dependent variable. So first you have to establish what your independent variable is. And according to you, your independent variable is the Earth turning, something you can't manipulate.
Well, I never said that. You're the ones.
No,
like,
you never
we
said
haven't
that.
even
No, you
gotten.
never said
We haven't even gotten to the.
just
the
said it
Doesn't even know what he
five
said.
times.
He literally doesn't even know the words coming out of his own mouth. That is how retarded he is. His memory for the words that have come out of his own mouth is limited. That's how stupid he really is. Yeah, you did, when asked, give us an independent variable. You gave us that the Earth was turning. That's what you gave us. You complete and utter idiot. Why aren't you getting this? Why is it so difficult to get through to globeheads? I just don't understand it. Anyway, with that, I think I'll probably round out the show with the total idiocy that is Lewis Hackett. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've all enjoyed the debate. Yeah. If you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Massive thank you to all of the panel for joining and making this debate possible, and a massive thank you to all who shared the show. If you've not done so already, be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!